Black Alpha Network. Home of Black excellence. Power to the people.
Yeah, it's on. FBA all day, a beautiful day to the FBA. What's going on, family? Hey, let me say this before I get ahead of myself. I see everybody who's already here right now. Much love and respect to the whole team. I appreciate the love. I see you, Marcel. I see my brother, Black Truth United. We in here. We rocking. It's on. We're going to go ahead and break this all the way down like we always do. Call ICE, get paid. And I just want the family to know right now, a year ago this time, it was open borders and everything. Now they actually out here paying people, all right, to go ahead and report these folks. That's a victory. And it's a victory because of us, all right, nobody else. Because if anyone else was out there trying to talk about immigration and the migrant crisis, it really wouldn't have got off the ground, all right? It would have already. It's when foundational Black Americans stepped up to the plate. So once again, it's a beautiful day to be FBA. Freedmen always win, certified all the time, and certified salute to the whole family. We in here right now. So what we're going to break down on this one, family, I want to know who's calling ICE, you feel me? Whether you get paid for it, because I'll do it for free, or you get a little, you know what I'm saying, stack for it. It's basically deport a migrant, get some money. And that's a beautiful thing. Just think about it, y'all. A year ago, they had us out here just accepting these people, dropping them off in our communities. Now they actually paying folks to do this. They paying folks to hit up ICE. They paying folks money, dollar bills, so you can go ahead and send these people home. So when you can get a bunch of ops out the paint, and then on top of getting ops out the paint, you getting paid for it. Shout out to Missouri. The game plan right now is, family, we're going to get that implemented throughout the whole 50 states. How about that one? Because I'm right here in Georgia, and I know right now in Georgia, they be down for that all the way. They will be all the way down for that. You mean to tell people that they'll get paid getting a problem out? That's like you literally having a pest, like pest control. All right, you got, you know, an infestation of a bunch of pests, and you go ahead and you get paid for getting them out. That's really what this is. You're getting money to get people out of the paint who ain't supposed to be here in the first place. Yeah, that's the foundational Black American creation, y'all. We're the ones who did that. So right now, we're going to talk about a lot of things in this space. Anybody want to come on up? Come on up. Y'all know how we do. Black Alpha Network, it's always thorough. It's always real. We just get straight to the point with everything. Donald Trump just did an interview last night, and he echoed the same exact statements as Tom Homan, his new borders are, okay? Y'all remember when Tom Homan said the best way to keep families intact is to send them all home by themselves, you know what I'm saying, or send them all home with their families and stuff, together as one? Donald Trump just said the same exact thing. These people ain't playing with mass immigration, family, and they're not playing with sending people home. So that's the best part about it. We're about to see a real change in America. I'm always saying it. You're going to see videos every single day of people getting drug out their goddamn house, getting drug out of goddamn preschool, the goddamn grocery store, Walmart. It don't matter. You're going to see people getting exited. And that's a good thing because we made it this way. So I want to know how many of y'all is willing to call ICE and get that money. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know who's willing to call ICE and just do it for free. You feel me? It doesn't matter because both of those are a victory for certified, foundational Black Americans. My brother Marcel, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
I know that you're willing to call ICE because I believe you're the one who said call ICE and call them twice, brother. And I feel you said that about 4 or 5 years ago. So it's all on you, family.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm willing to do it for free, like you said. But if we can do it and get that money that they should have been paying us for all these Black jobs they've been giving to these illegals that should have gone to us, I'm absolutely ready. As a matter of fact, it just came out that HelloFresh, I believe HelloFresh is a meal prep company. I don't know if they actually prepare meals for people or they prepare meals for people's pets. I cannot remember, but it's been revealed that HelloFresh has not just been using illegal immigrants, but they've been using kids who are here illegally in the United States of America as employees. So I hate when people say, because, you know, there's a talking point that I know you've encountered too, where people like to say, well, y'all can't compete with illegals. Y'all can't compete with people who don't even speak English. First of all, we don't need to compete with anyone. No one can compete with us. The wealth we have is wealth that we've got it in spite of the federal government lynching us, massacring us, stealing our land, excluding us from wealth building programs, enslaving us for centuries and not paying us, putting us in the worst schools, filling our neighborhoods with drugs, and yet we still have wealth. We're still the most imitated people in the world. Our inventions have still helped to revolutionize the world. So we don't need to prove that we can compete with anyone. But we're not competing against illegals. We're competing against this federal government that facilitates this illegal immigration invasion by giving them free homes, free clothing, free food, free health care, free transportation, free job training, and hiring them over us because they know we are going to demand fair pay. That's who we're competing against, these politicians and these corporations. So I'm absolutely willing to call ICE. Now, this so far has been proposed in Missouri. It has not become law. It's just a bill right now. But like you said, we need this to be done in all 50 states. I'm interested to see how this is going to play out because you know as well as I know, the Democrats are the main ones pushing this illegal immigration invasion, but the Republicans are fans of it as well because they're often in the pockets of these corporations. Now, this Tom Homan guy, he doesn't seem like he's playing at all. I have not heard him yet say they're going to go after corporations, but that man is quite intense. And I can see him not, if he's already saying that he's willing to put mayors in jail who stand in the way, I can definitely see him willing to throw CEOs in jail. So we need to be pushing right now for this to become law in all 50 states. A Republican guy won as my state rep for my area. He's the one that I was speaking with 2 years ago. I went to speak with the Republicans about reparations. I was introduced on the floor of the House of Representatives here in South Carolina. I'm not sure if you remember that. Well, I went to see him. I'm going to right here and push for him to propose it. I'm going to find the bill in Missouri, use the same language, just bring it to my rep here in South Carolina. We need to all be doing that in our respective states right now.
Family, 100%, 100%. And that's what the agenda and the approach has to be for the next 4 years. We got 4 years of people basically all the way at the top who are anti-mass immigration. So it's time for us to take advantage of it. Everyone always talks about what's the plan? Where do we go from here? I'm going to tell you where we can start, exactly what my brother just alluded to. Now we can go ahead and put pressure on these people and just let the world know that certified foundational Black Americans, we completely support this policy, and we would actually like to see it implemented all through the United States. Not just people talking about it, but people being about it. I suggest that individuals do start writing your local representatives. You start reaching out to the heads of your state. And eventually, when people understand that this country is completely against mass immigration and we do want to see these people home, send them home, everybody's going to come back to us and say, okay, where do we start? Because the major thing that happened in this election is that immigration was the #1 policy that people wanted to see finished. And then Donald Trump won in a landslide basically based off of that. So now they see some type of luxury in sending people home. They weren't sure before if there was really a luxury. They were like, well, you know, if we go against immigration, we're going to get bad press. It may not be something that we need to run on. You go look at that damn map on November 5th, and now they see that immigration is definitely something they can run on. This is not like 2012. This is not like 2016 with the previous Donald Trump administration. A lot of the court cases have already been settled. So all of these little mayors out there who were saying that they were going to fight the sanctuary cities, y'all notice a lot of them are hitting U-turns. They're turning around right now and they're saying, well, you know, we're going to get on board. The country basically is getting on board right now, all right, across all spectrums. Everybody's getting on board and saying, well, this is a problem we can all agree on. And it's very hard to get America to agree on something. But the one thing that people do agree on is sending back Mr. Estrada and Mr. Mutombo. That's why y'all see them all crashing out right now. They got this whole thing about Mexican women and how they built or whatever. Y'all know that's all about the Mexican women and all of their burrito builds. They fixing to go home. So that's really what this is about. They're angry right now, all right? Well, they don't have to take the taco truck with them. You feel me? This is why they're mad. All these people crashing out, they thought it was sweet. They thought it was good. They thought Kamala was going to win, and they thought they had 4 more years of luxury. Now they found out that they got about 2 more minutes of staying here before they get sent back. And we are going to get on board with it. I am a certified foundational Black American who completely supports ICE, and I completely support the notion, the policy, and agenda of sending every one of them home. And we're going to put this out in the air politically, publicly, socially, just so they know. If you want to support her, and sending these people back to their homelands, wherever that may be. You got one right here with us. That's the political power in which we have, and that map on election day showed it. And it's also not just Donald Trump. You also have Tom Homan, who's, he's reckless. He don't give a damn. He out there just raw, ruthless. But you also have a lot of other people in the administration. And, Marcel, I actually did see somebody saying that they need to start going at these corporations. I broke that down on my broadcast a few days ago. I want to say, what's that guy's name? Is it Eric Smith? One of those guys who's high in Donald Trump's cabinet. He was out there, correct me if I'm wrong if that's his name or not. I'll get it in a minute. But he was out here and he was saying the same thing. He said, we need to start really going after these people. We need to start going after these companies. We need to start sending these families home. And when you start seeing these sentiments expressed, then the next step is these folks getting the hell out of here. And that's cool. And I say that with no remorse. I don't give a damn. Because remember, y'all, these were the same people who came over here and just were stepping over us, literally, because you had Black Americans that are homeless all throughout the United States, and they were literally stepping over us and, going to their 5-star hotel. So those days are over, and I want everybody to see the difference between a year. All right. And this is what happens when we get on code. And I'll just give you the timeline. FBA got on code. We caused the Democrats to collapse. The Democrats now cannot provide protection to illegal migrants. And now the Tom Homan, Donald Trump agenda is going to come through and send everybody back to where they belong. It's a beautiful day to be FBA. Go ahead, Marcel.
Please send me that clip or that article, because that's been the missing key right there, going after corporations. Let me be very clear, because I know people are going to bring this up who are ear hustling but don't have the balls to come up here to challenge what we're saying. Donald Trump did employ illegals. However, he used the same excuse that a lot of CEOs use, whether it's genuine or not, I don't know, that they don't hire these illegals directly. They use agencies to hire their staff. And that's how a lot of CEOs have been evading consequences, is that a lot of them will point to the agencies that send them these illegals. Well, then the damn people in charge of the agencies need to go to jail. Okay? But that is the missing link, holding these corporations accountable. I also want to say something right now, because you're going to get these butthurt, disgruntled Democrats, because we have a lot of disgruntled Democrats in this movement. They may be for reparations, I'll give them that, but a lot of them are still loyal to the Democratic Party. They're still connected to the Democrats, and they get butthurt when we criticize the Democrats. The Democrats get 86 to 95% of our vote, they'll get 100% of the damn smoke, and I'm going to stand on every damn day. I do. There are many things about Trump and the Republican cause in general that I don't like. But this right here, this is really a Trump thing. This is not a Republican thing. The Republicans have sat back and let mass immigration happen for decades. But Trump has stood his ground on being against it. He supports legal immigration more than I do, but illegal immigration he's always been against. There are many things about Trump I may not like. We're not talking about that right now, though. We're talking about the one thing about him that I don't just like, I love, and that's he stands 10 toes down against illegal immigration. There are probably many things about Tom Homan I'm probably not going to like. We're not here to fall in love with these people. We're here to support these people when their interest aligns with ours. And this Tom Homan guy, that guy is like, that guy is bringing like a militant stance being against illegal immigration. Like, seriously, he's bringing that type of energy. He's matching my energy. You know what do they say, spirit animal? He's like my spirit animal when it comes to my stance against illegal immigration. And I was getting worried that they were only going to go after those who pose a dangerous threat. It was kind of clarified. They are prioritizing those who are dangers, physical dangers to the community, but they are legitimately going after anyone who's here illegally. So I like that. But if Alpha, if you could send me that clip or article, I would love to see it. I'm trying to think of who you might be talking about in Trump's administration, but I cannot remember.
I'm looking it up right now, family. I have it in my timeline, and I got to go down because I post so much, but I'm going to find it. And I'm going to show everybody that Tom Homan right now is the main face that everybody's seeing. But Trump is literally installing a lot of people who are completely on board with his anti-immigration. And be honest with you, just the country's going to have to, at the end of the day, people can get mad, they can get upset. They're just going to have to deal with the fact that these people are going home. They're going home at the end of the day. It would be political at this point for Donald Trump or for potentially J.D. Vance running in 2028 for them to hit a U-turn on immigration. It's set. It's in stone. The paint has dried. This is what American people ran on. This is what they ran on for the American people. This is what the American people want. And if you hit a U-turn and we end up seeing all these different people coming to America over the next 4 years, people are going to say, well, hold on, what happened? And like you said, Tom Homan is very, very, very militant with it. And let me add this, and I'd be remiss if I didn't. I want to send a blessings and certified salute to the young 7-year-old Ivory Smith, the young Black American that was by a drunk driver, a strata. And I want everybody to take note that this is the result of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris bringing these people into the country. And if y'all notice, they haven't said a goddamn word. You see what happens to them when they don't have a Black body to run on? All right. You remember the last election when they can utilize the Breonna Taylor situation and George Floyd and they can run off of that? They haven't said a damn thing about this. Why? Because the is on their hands. And this is how it's being taken, perceived, and pushed. We're not giving them any passes. I literally see more MAGA folks coming out here and speaking about that young lady. Go ahead and type in her name, and I'm telling you right now, you'll see more Republicans saying something positive about her, and you won't see a damn thing about the Democrats. It's the same agenda that the Democrats did and Kamala did in her campaign. She never talked about immigration. She never did. She didn't bring it up one time. So, of course, she's not going to bring up this right here. But instead, she's showing up like, she's off of cocaine, and she looks like she's drunk as hell. She's been hitting the bottle. She's been hitting some of that damn Hunter Biden crack, and she's looking ditzy as ever. But no talk about what happened to this young foundational Black American child. So these were the people who were telling us that there's no problem. There's no migrant crisis. And notice, Sam, the people who said there's no migrant crisis are the people who lost. And the one who says there are migrants running in America by the millions, that's the individual who won. So we're in the era and the time frame where things are changing, and we have to take advantage of it the same way that me and Marcel are talking about reaching out to people politically and continuing to push it. If you are somebody who wants to write a local senator to push this, if you're somebody who wants to make a petition, if you're somebody who just wants to be an instigator, because I do that very well. I love instigating, okay? If you have a mayo versus a burrito battle, then you need to go ahead and you need to fuel that fire, y'all. That's how it works. So this is what we're going to do, and I promise you at the end of any approach that we have that is anti-mass immigration, we will win. Hell, we already won. So let's just hit the victory lap. Let's go to the hands, though. I see.
Hey, man, I'll just say real quick. I found out about the little Freedman child because Tom Homan tweeted about it. That's how I actually learned about what happened then.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And they're out there saying, say her name. Say her name. And it seems like, obviously, we're saying her name because that is our young child. And you see some MAGA folks are saying her name, even if it's just for political purposes. But the people who are not saying her name are the ones who tell us we need to go and vote for him blindly. Ain't that something? The Democrats are canceled. Estrada's going home. Mr. Mutombo's scared. And it looked like the Borders ain't playing. Our Hamp is on you.
Hi, Alpha. How are you today? Good morning. Good afternoon.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You know what? I'm FBA all day. I'm a 52-year-old woman. I want to say, damn, now, all these immigrants need to go. Not only the ones from South America, Mexico, India, China, they all here illegal. Ones who overstayed their visa, damn that. They all need to go. I don't care if you built a home 30 years ago, you illegal and your kids are here being American. He said all y'all going back. I don't care if you have a home. You knew that you can't be protected when you come here, build your home, and think you just going to ride, coming here illegal. Damn that. They all got to go. I don't care what country you from. A second thing I want to say, I was reading an article the other day, and they were talking about April Ryan. She put an article out just a couple of days ago talking about the deportation will affect the Black community. I said, what? I said, you're lying. So check out her article too, because she put that, oops, sorry, I apologize. She put that bull ass out lying, saying that we're going to be affected if deportation starts. I said, how are Black people going to be affected? So the Democrats are still on that bull. We got to make sure that we're going to get on these bootlegs next, that we, Black America, is not protecting no illegal. I don't care where country you're from, you got to go. I had enough of them. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you right now, honestly, I'm going to give me $50,000 in one day because they building down the street from me, new construction, townhomes. It's about 50 of them Mexicans working down there right now. Oh, I'm reporting them. If they start that $1,000, I'm reporting on all of them. I don't care. I just can't. I had enough of them. I'm sick of them. When I'm saying I'm sick of them, I'm sick of them. All of them. We don't have to change our language. We shouldn't be changing ATMs to fit the need of them. We shouldn't be changing our language in anything that we do. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So we shouldn't be doing any of that. They all got to get the hell up out of here. I don't care if you're from Russia. I don't care if you're from the Middle East. I don't care if you're from Eastern European. You got to go. Thank you, Alpha. Bless you.
Bless you too, my sister. I found somebody who got as much energy as me. That's what I'm talking about. Certified salute. Yeah, they got to go. Go ahead, Marcel. You can comment on that, and you can go through the hands as well, brother.
Yeah, I completely agree with her. I'm tired of it too. I'm beyond tired of it. And you know what? I've noticed that whole arrogant, y'all need us, we built the nation. That attitude is humbled a lot. It's a lot of humility right now. They are really, really quiet right now. Not just here on Twitter, but they're quiet. And it's not a joke. Seriously. I do want to say I hope they make it per head. I hope it's just not a one-time thing. I'm hoping they make it per head. Now, let me be very clear. I'm going to call any damn way. I was willing to call for free. But now that there's an incentive in Missouri, and I hope other states follow suit, it's going to be a competition. That's the easiest way for ICE to save millions, billions of dollars is by paying the American people to do it. That's a source of income that's going to help people pay their bills, and it's going to help save us trillions in the long run. Because that's how much we've been spending on these illegals, clothing them, housing them, feeding them, taking care of their medical needs, giving them job training, giving them legal representation. Okay? We've been spending trillions on them. This is the quickest way for ICE to round them up and the cheapest, most effective way as well. I'm been tired of them too, walking around here thinking they are entitled to this country, making up all these BS excuses. I'm indigenous. Just because you have flowing through your body from people who may have been in the America before the Europeans arrived, that doesn't entitle you to break the laws of our nation no more than me having from indigenous people flowing through my body entitles me to break the laws of your nation, or to go to an African country and break the laws of their nation. Going around here talking some immigrants built this nation. You came to a nation that was already built. Because if you built our nation, then yours will be built up. I've been sick of them too. Beyond sick of it. I think Black
I want
Truth
everybody to think.
is...
Go ahead, brother. Before you go there,
Okay.
family, before you go there, I want everybody to remember what my brother just said right there. Joe Biden was coming out and Kamala Harris, and they both said that illegals built America. Good damn point, brother. Go ahead, Black Truth.
Salute, brother Black Alpha. Salute, brother Gray Marcel Dixon. It's a pleasure to be on the stage here. You knew I had to come for this one. I saw the title. I said I have to come. Yeah, so family, write this number down. Everyone needs this number in their phone, in a phone book, on their refrigerator, everywhere. 866-347-2423. That's 866-347-2423. And I agree with Brother Greg Marcel Dixon. If they're doing it by, per head, man, I may have enough money for a rental property by February, I'd say, because let's just say I have a whole entire list. I've been stacking up all the names, all these disrespectful construction companies and landscaping companies, everything. And keep in mind, family, it's not just the quote unquote unskilled labor. We have people who are invading this country, taking nursing positions. They're taking cybersecurity positions, tech positions. They're taking over these different industries. And this is one of our only methods that we have to combat this economic warfare against us. So our stock is about to go way up. And I'm not just referring to the on the employee side. For those who are business owners, you're now actually going to be able to compete for some of these contracts. because you have a whole bunch of people who, you're competing for a contract, whether it's a government contract or a business contract, and you're sitting there wondering, how did these people win? How did they beat me with the bid that I had for this contract? It's because your competitors are using illegal migrants, and they're not paying all the extra fees and all the extra overhead that you have to pay. So, I mean, there are multiple benefits to getting these people out of here. The prices are going to go down. They have to. Supply and demand will require that. There are just endless benefits. So let me give you that number one more time. That's 866-347-2423. 866-347-2423. Salute, family. I'll drop down.
866-347-2423. 2423. 866. Say it again for me, please.
Sorry, yeah, I got you. 866-347-2423.
Thank you. Because, there's also a way to do it online, y'all. Y'all can also just report it online. But I don't know. I think online, if you want to do it anonymously, so using direct number is so much more satisfying. That article that April Ryan wrote, I'm not even going to do her the favor of clicking on it. I've seen someone took a screenshot of the headline and have been floating it around. They're always trying to tie us into things. I've been seeing that a lot, trying to tie us in to this mass deportation effort, like we're immigrants. That's something that these bigots used to say about us. They used to say that we were immigrants, that we should be happy to be here, as if we are not the reason that here even exists. And now you got these so-called black leaders, air quotes, trying to make it seem like we're immigrants and like somehow mass deportation is going to hurt us as well. It's not going to hurt us. It's only going to help us. If you don't believe it, you can ask the people in states like Mississippi, North Carolina, Georgia, Illinois, South Carolina. These are states where mass raids have happened at some of these farms and at some of these plants. And the next day, freemen or foundational black Americans were there to do those jobs and were able to get fair, equitable pay and provide for themselves. Not only that, what they did not report, but I'm pretty sure happened as well, we were able to find housing for a much cheaper rate, because you didn't have all these illegals taking up all the housing, causing the remaining amount of homes and apartments to be sky high. So not only is it going to help us get a job that's going to pay us a decent wage, it's also going to help us in finding housing that these illegals are currently occupying. I'm sick of it. Black Truth, you go ahead again, and then we get into our Hamp and then Jude.
Just wanted to say real quick, I dropped the phone number as well as the contact form that you were talking about in the purple pill. I'll drop down now. For real.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much. All right, our Hamp, it's on you. Jude, I'm going to mute your microphone. Please keep it muted until it's your turn. Our Hamp, you need to unmute your microphone if you want to speak. Oh, we're going to Jude. All right, Jude, it's on you. Okay, Jude, I don't know. Something's going on with your microphone. You need to drop and come back up. Something's going on with your microphone and come back up. I'll bring you back up. Okay, Boykin, I'm bringing you up. Please go ahead. Okay, Boykin, I'm bringing you up. Please go ahead. As soon as I bring you up. Okay, and Jude, Boykin, you go ahead. Jude, I'm going to bring you back up. We're going to let Boykin go.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you, Brother Marcel, Black Alpha, all the speakers and guests listening in the room. I'm keeping up with the developments in Missouri where one of the legislatures proposed legislation that places $1,000 bounty per illegal, okay, for people to call in and report them. And I look at this as a precedent. Should this pass in Missouri and other states follow suit, we're looking at a new era right now. So I'm keeping close watch on this. The people elected Donald Trump because of the deplorable immigration policies of this current administration for the past few years. And immigration remains one of the sore points. And depending on where you live in this country, it is the sore point. What people overlook, whether it's willingly or maybe they just don't want to put things together, what have you, immigration and the economy are tied into each other. And you have to look at this stuff from the local level. Where I am, I sit on the zoning board in the area, in the city in which I live. Okay, I live in suburban city, a suburban sanctuary city at that. And a lot of people don't understand how immigration hurts the taxpayers, especially at the local level. Okay, what people don't understand is the cost burden, not just in terms of cost of jobs. That's a fair amount. Okay, that's a big component of it, no doubt. But when we're looking at social services, who pays for the health care? Who pays for the daycare? Who pays for all this? This is coming out of our paychecks in the form of tax dollars. And these ungrateful people, freeloaders as I call them, and they are freeloaders, think that this is a given. They're not contributing to the tax bases of these areas. And if you could go to California, and folks who live in California, you already know this, and you've already known this. This has been going on since Reagan, so 40 years now. That a lot of those cities don't have a tax base because of the high illegal immigration numbers. Because if you don't pay your taxes for support services such as your schools, your libraries, your garbage services, your sewers, so on and so forth, they can't run. But when you got people who come in from third world countries who don't have running water, don't have running lights, they think that it's okay to live in rundown areas or to run down areas. And it's disgusting because a lot of times the immigrants who are coming in, they get help from nonprofit organizations. And this is a fact. A lot of the nonprofit organizations set these fools up off of our money and off of our resources. And it's a pity when you've got folks, especially Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, freedmen, Negroes, who can't get a business license, who can't get favorable zoning laws to keep their businesses, but you've got people bending over backwards for these lawbreakers to get them in businesses. What was it? A couple of days ago, I was reading news out of Chicago where these Venezuelan migrants got a pizza restaurant. They're not U.S. citizens, but they get a business. They get the seed money. They get the licensing. And they get a liquor license, too, to operate this pizza place. And I'm looking at this thinking, WTF is really going on here? Do you know how hard it is for a business to get a liquor license? And these are legit people. But you're going to go over and give these illegals, these freeloaders that are not paying any taxes, a license to get a business, seed money, and a liquor license. This is a travesty. So I'm glad that we've got somebody who's listening. And should Trump go ahead and drop the deportation orders, which he will, because Tom Homan, he's ICE guy, and a lot of people, Democrats, don't want to admit that he was Obama's ICE guy, okay? Obama started the deportation proceedings in his second term, and they were flying them out wholesale. They don't want to tell you about that. And Tom Homan was in charge of that. Now he's back, and Trump's putting him in to do his job, which is a good thing, because these hypocrites, Democrats or Republicans, love to talk about rule of law, love to talk about law breaking and stuff. But you've got career politicians in Congress, career politicians in these state legislatures, including the governors, who are willfully breaking federal statutes. And now you hear some getting out here in media, whining and going on and so forth about, well, if when Trump comes into office, we're going to defy the laws. And, Homan just cited the federal statutes about anybody who's breaking the law. What makes you think that you're above the law? I mean, a lot of the shills, the Democrat ones especially, like to talk about, well, Trump's breaking the law. He thinks he's above the law. But you got to get past the verbiage. You got to get past these people who are just wanting FaceTime to save their own bacon, to get money for their stuff. And so with the state of Missouri, got this pending legislation where it's $1,000 per scout. I don't see a problem with it, because in a lot of states, I don't know too much about Missouri, and maybe folks who are in here who are from Missouri or have lived in Missouri for a period of time, you best know about that state. But when it comes down to the economy, and you're running a state and you don't have enough tax receipts to pay for basic services of your citizens, something's got to give. And if that means booting out non-U.S. citizens and people who shouldn't be here, then let the laws take care of themselves. And with that, I yield.
Let me say something. While the Republicans deserve a lot of smoke too when it comes to mass immigration, because why was this not proposed before in Missouri? Why was this not proposed before in Texas? You have all of these states that the Republicans run, the state legislature, and bills like this are not a thing. So I want everybody to keep that in mind too. Mass immigration, that means legal and illegal, is as much a Republican thing as it is a Democratic thing, because this should really be a thing throughout America, because you have plenty of Republican-ran state legislators. They're not deficit hawks when it comes to spending big on corporations, but when it comes to doing the leaks to hold these corporations accountable who are hiring these illegals, they didn't want to cover their eyes and pretend that they do not see it. So ask yourself why this was not being done before. I have been saying to y'all that the only reason they are acting now as if they care about stopping these illegals is because Donald Trump is back on the scene. Trump is powerful because he makes these Republicans step in line and do whatever he wants, which are things they should have been doing already that they propose to care about, such as stopping these illegals. They purport to care about that already. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Jude, are you there? Jude, unmute your microphone. Okay, let me try muting because your microphone still has a lot of interference. Let me try muting. Hey, Jude, something is wrong with your microphone. You have to probably update the app. I don't know, but something is wrong with your microphone. Boy, can I see you want to ask them? I'll go back to you.
Yes. My harshest sentiment comes down on the Republicans. Simply put, you've got a lot of these companies who are Republican corporate donors, just like they're Democrat donors. And the Republicans think that the illegals are their personal slave property. And they protect these businesses and have done so most ostensibly since Reagan. Okay? You've got a lot of state laws that are on the books that these companies skirt. And the way the political processes work at the state level, it really is, I scratch your back, you look the other way, and I'll scratch yours. What you have is, in a lot of Republican states, Texas being one of the worst ones, is that these businesses do what they call mass hiring and mass firing, okay? And that offsets the balance with your workers, your local citizens who need those jobs. But what they're doing is when they hire en masse all of these illegals and they don't give them work permits, don't ever buy into the nonsense that they're giving them work permits and that they're coming in and they're working at the prevailing wage rate. That is not true. You have a bunch of companies, and the Republicans have been doing this on the books quasi-legally, is that they're hiring all of these illegals under state laws that protect these companies. And then they skirt safety laws such as OSHA and other state regulations. So you have child labor coming back because these companies are in bed a lot of times with these Republican lawmakers, and they're paid off to look the other way. That's why child labor is coming back. Food safety. The reason why you're getting all of these recalls with all of, E. coli and all of these buggers is nobody is enforcing cleanliness health standards. And don't get me started about the wage laws, okay? I'm in a state where there's some of the toughest wage enforcement laws, but because you have these Republican-controlled corporations that go in and say, hey, we're not going to enforce these wage standard laws anymore because these are our people we brought in and you're not going to do anything about it, political machinery takes over from there. So my harshest criticism comes down on the good old boy network, especially on the Republican side, because they've paid for this. It's just another form of slavery. It really is. When they're talking about, oh, well, we can't get people to do these jobs. Who the hell is doing these jobs before you brought these damn illegals in? And I'm going to tell you something. The Republicans set up the networks that traffic these people in. Some of these companies, especially your poultry and your beef processing companies and your agricultural or your farms and stuff, they go to Guatemala. They go to Mexico. They go to Honduras. Pay those people down there and them in to the United States. Set them up in trailer parks. And they pay the people who own the trailer parks fees. They pay their licensing to bring all of these people in. And this has been going on again since Reagan. Now, one time I had lived in South Carolina, and South Carolina is Republican as Republican does. And I saw this with my own eyes. I lived in Lexington County for a period of time. And Lexington County is poultry and dairy. Well, and also you have fruits and vegetables there too. And who is out there picking the fruits and vegetables? How did those folks get in there? That's because these agricultural or agribusinesses pay literal hundreds of thousands of dollars to middlemen, consulates from El Salvador, from Guatemala, and Honduras to bring these people into these agricultural communities as the cheap labor. And of course, I'm going to come down on South Carolina, which is a Republican state. And the party machinery there is based upon farming, okay? And that's what goes on. And it's been that way. And they're not going to change up until you get, like Marcel said, somebody like Trump who makes them fall in line.
Boykin, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. There's an organization called Numbers USA, and they do a report card on a lot of state legislators and congressmen and South Carolina congressmen. When South Carolina state legislature is very, very Republican, they rate very, very poorly when it comes to being against illegal immigration. And they definitely deserve those poor scores because South Carolina is being invaded. And I cannot blame the Democrats for this one. I am going to put it right at the feet of the Republicans because we have a Republican governor. The Republicans have a super majority here in South Carolina. The Democrats love the fact that we're being invaded. These little black boule coons, the Democrats love the fact that we're being invaded. Let me be very clear. But the Republicans are allowing it, and they love it too. The only reason they're now doing all this tough talk against mass immigration again is because Donald Trump is back on the scene. So for 4 years, they're going to pretend to be against it. And if we get a liberal in there, they're going to shut their damn mouth, do a few talking points here and there, and let it continue as they've been letting it do all the time while slow Joe Crow and this lady have been in office. Let's be very, very clear about that. I also, is anything you want to add?
Yes, I absolutely do. You guys both make great points, and I'm glad that you brought those up. The only difference between Democrats and Republicans in terms of migrants is Democrats and liberals in liberal cities, they want to take migrants and they want to put them in high-ranking jobs, okay? They want to make sure these people are your judges. They want to make sure they're the police officers, AKA the ones pulling us over and coming after us with like a sheriff type authority. When you come down to the South or conservative areas, they want those same migrants, but they want them to just be quiet and do the roof. They want them to lay tiles down. That's the thing. That's the difference between the two of them. But they both want these individuals here. And we were saying this, and a lot of people were saying this, Donald Trump and the whole MAGA thing that they got going on, that is separate than Republicans. That's why people who were saying that they were for Donald Trump, they weren't necessarily for the Republican Party. You start talking about the Republican Party, you're going to start seeing a bunch of people like Mitch McConnell and all these, completely clowns. Trump was coming with a different agenda. That's why you've seen so many Republicans who came out against Donald Trump. He's an outliner. He's more of a rogue, a rebel in terms of the whole political establishment, especially the Republicans. He's the first guy who basically ran as a Republican and don't really rock with the Republicans. Donald Trump likes who likes him. Hell, he said it. He said, I like people who like me. So if you don't really rock with Donald Trump, then he don't rock with you. If you do rock with Donald Trump, then he can see you halfway. So that's the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. Now what has happened, though, is that you have the authority and the establishment, typical Republican or Democrat, and then you have the citizens. See, the citizens are fed up with this illegal migrant crisis, okay? That's what the citizens, they're done with it. They get tired of all these people coming into the country while the establishment just basically gets to walk around them. Look at New York right now. That's what happened with Eric Adams. Eric Adams was completely okay with the migrant crisis because he was getting his orders from the establishment. He didn't do a 360 until the average everyday citizen started turning up the heat on his ass. Now he starts trying to flip-flop, then he starts to change. So what you're seeing throughout the populace of the United States of America is the difference between the authority and the establishment and then the average everyday person. And if you look at that map, the average everyday person, we really won out on that. And I'm talking about across all racial lines. Nobody in America is rocking with these migrants coming over here while we're struggling. So you're starting to see a metamorphosis in the United States of America in terms of how people perceive illegal immigration. And Donald Trump just happens to be on the side of send them home, which is reflective of what the average person is thinking. So all those establishment Democrats and Republicans who are trying to slide these people things on the low, now they're having to deal with the people. So you can go out here and you can try to bring these people in secretly. You can try to give them jobs. You can do all of that. But now in this generation, this new era after this election, you're going to have to deal with the average everyday voter. So the conditions of America has changed. People who support immigration are on one side and those who do not support it are on the other. And the average American person is against it. So these politicians, you go ahead. I don't give a damn if you Republican or Democrat. You go ahead and you support immigration. And you're going to have to deal with your average everyday voter. And you're going to get voted out. That's why, just since Donald Trump was elected, half of the people who said they were going to fight deportation, 1 week later, they said, nah, never mind. We're going to go, we're going to go with it. Because things are changing. Go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, there's another difference, too, between the Republicans and the Democrats when it comes to mass immigration. You won't see a Republican trying to give these illegals the right to vote. You will not see that at all. You won't see them ever trying to give these illegals the right to vote. The Democrats explicitly and intentionally bring these illegals here so they can replace us. because they see that has backfired on them, and all these little anchor babies have been voting more for the Republicans, you now have a bunch of these Democrats, like that guy. I don't even want to dignify him by saying his name. I don't even know his name. I don't even want to describe him. But that guy who is always crying and screaming about people supporting Kamala Harris, you have all these K-Hive people saying how they're going to help Tom Homan round up these illegals and get them deported. They are only doing that because the children of these illegal immigrants voted more for the Republicans. I hope we are realizing that this was all about replacing us as the main constituents as the Democrats. For the Democrats, excuse me. We should have never been the main constituents for the Democrats in the first place. That's shame on us for still voting for a party that after 6 years has us possessing or occupying a lower status in this country. But it was all about them realizing that we are drifting away from the Democrats. And I'll give you proof. In Louisiana, Baton Rouge, a Republican man just defeated a black woman who was running against him for mayor of that city underneath the Democratic Party banner. A Republican man in a majority black city where most of the people there vote for the Democrats defeated a black woman who was running underneath the Democratic Party. It's happened here in South Carolina too. We have several majority black areas. I'm talking about like 50 to 70% black where Republicans have won. So we are drifting away from the Democratic Party. Our people are saying we got nothing from y'all. We'll try our chances with them. The Democrats are realizing that. I'm not advocating for us voting for the Republicans. I'm just simply stating a matter of fact that it is happening. We're drifting away from the Democratic Party. They see it happening. And instead of them trying to do things for us, they are doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on their stance of doing nothing for us and trying to replace us with anchor babies. The anchor babies are voting for the Republicans. So now you have the Democrats who want to get illegals out of here. All because the illegals did not vote the way they wanted them to vote. It was all about replacing us. Nas, you have the
Thank you very much, Marcel and Black Alpha. Y'all know I don't really talk too much these days. I mean, I think there's just so much going on, so many. I mean, I can't even keep my head around all the ways they just selling us out. But I wrote a couple things down in response to what someone else said. One of the things, when I think she said something about some states, they don't have a tax base, because of all the illegals they have there. But we have to remember that when they don't have the money to pay for the illegals, they sue the U.S. government to get the money. So we all paying for these damn illegals, no matter, you know what I mean? And I know California been doing this since what, the 90s? I mean, so we're getting fleeced right here. The other thing I wanted to say is, we know that a lot of these charities, um, like the Catholic charities in particular, they're giving resources to illegals. So what I'm telling people to do is, if you want to donate to help Americans, let's say you want to donate for the homeless, because that's how at the store they have something, $5 give for charity with the Catholic. I mean, y'all. Look, if you want to help the homeless, take your $5 and go hand it to a homeless person on the damn street. Just give it to, hey, bro, here you go. Don't give it to no pastor. Don't give it to none of these charities, because that money is going to the illegals. I'm telling you, as soon as I realized they were giving all that money to illegals, I stopped donating to any charity. I ignore all that. I be at the cash register. They're like, do you want to give $10 to feed the needy? No, I don't. No. If I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna go walk outside and hand it to somebody on the corner that I know is an American. They can speak English. I can see they downtrodden a little bit. Here you go. I don't care what you spend it on. I mean, I wish you wouldn't spend it on no drink, but whatever, man, whatever you need, just take it. But the other thing I want to say is, next year, I was going to start it soon, but over the last couple of years, when I go for my walks in this quote unquote rich neighborhood, all I see is a bunch of illegals, right? Building houses and all this stuff. And I started documenting it, right? Taking a picture of that number on that van, writing the name down or whatever. And I just had these notes for a couple of years now. And I realized that the power of shaming people is very, very important, because we have a lot of these, at least in Louisiana, it's a bunch of Republicans on all these companies. It ain't no black people. I mean, it ain't no black Americans that hiring all these illegals. These are Republicans, right? And I'm sure in one avenue, they up there talking about Trump 2024. And the other avenue, they hired a bunch of illegal alien Latinos pretending like they don't know it's a fucking crime. So one of my plans for next year was to start exposing all of these companies. So that's why I got on the stage, because I want everyone else to do the same thing. Meaning, start recording who is hiring the illegals in your city. Get all the information. Go online to the business. Like every state, when you have an LLC, you got to file. Find out who the owner is of that business. Get their information. Cross-reference that on LinkedIn and Facebook. Get their damn picture. And when you make a post about it online, say that this company, whatever, Over Americans LLC, whatever the company is, owned by John Winter, Trump 2024 Republican, is hiring illegal aliens, allegedly. All right, always put the word allegedly. That way they don't try to sue you. You know what I mean? Put their phone number for the business. And that way, when you see that thing come across the timeline, everybody call them, leave messages on their damn business pages. Hey, are you hiring Americans? Call them. How many Americans are working for you? How many illegals are, shame these when you got to. And at that point, now I came up with this idea before the whole bounty program. So if you're trying to get that bounty money, if they pass it, then handle your bounty business, get your money, and then after that, expose them, for hiring all these illegals. You know what I'm saying? But we got to do it. We got to take it out there. The citizens have to take our power back, and we have to put these people on blast, because nobody else is going to do it. The media's not going to do it on a local level or a national level. They're not going to put these employees on blast. The Republicans aren't going to do it. The Democrats aren't going to do it. Nobody's going to. The Green Party, forget about it. The Green Party, Libertarian, forget about all them. They ain't going to do either, okay? So it's just going to be us, and it's always been us. Just the citizens, and in this sense, Black Americans trying to do the right thing. We have to put these people on blast, and that way, when Trump and them come in and they start doing them ICE raids, well, guess what? All the information online. Tag Trump in that if you want to. Tag them all. Tag Tom Homan. Tag all of them every time. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Eventually, the media is going to have to pick up on this. You see what I'm saying? They're going to have to pick up on it because it's everywhere. But anyway, that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Nas. And let me tell you about tagging Tom Homan. He actually responds to people's tweets. Remember that illegal that was going around talking about he's not going to be deported because he has a child who's an American and he was holding a baby? Remember? Tom Homan said target acquired. He responded saying target acquired, and pretty much making it clear that he's going to be one of the first people he goes for on deportation day. I think that's what he's calling it, National Deportation Day. I think he's calling January 20th or January 21st National Deportation Day. So he really does see people's tweets. Again, I'm not saying Tom Homan's a great guy. I'm not saying he has views that are going to align with mine. But when it comes to this issue of stopping this illegal immigration invasion, he does align with me, and that's where we align, and that's good enough for me right now. Also, that thing about shaming companies, I have called ICE several times underneath the Slow Joe Crow and Women's Administration about these companies where I see nothing but these Hispanic men. Okay? I have called ICE several times. Well, I've done the anonymous form. Nothing has been done. Nothing at all. And I know they're not here legally. One of the construction sites, one of the men there, I taught his children. And I know he's here illegally. I know he's here illegally. Okay? And I called ICE because it's not fair that this company is not hiring Black men and even the white men here in this town who used to do that type of work as their main source of income, but now they cannot find any work at all. It's not right. I report the company more so than reporting the illegals that were working for the company, even though the illegals do need to go. Not a single thing was done. I'm hoping there's a change when this new administration comes in. We've been talking about deportations. We have not talked a lot about Trump reiterating on this interview that he just did about ending birthright citizenship for people who do not have an American parent. That's extremely important, y'all. That's a game changer. People like to say that birthright citizenship cannot be ended because it would endanger the citizenship of all Americans. And of course, they try to bring us in, saying it would end the citizenship for freedom. That's a damn lie. If you read the full interpretation and the entire amendment itself, it makes it clear that if anyone is in this nation, but they have allegiance to another government, meaning they are a citizen of another government, and they are not a citizen of our government, the birthright citizenship does not apply to them. It has been misinterpreted. That's how I'm going to view it for many, 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 many years, where they've been applying it to illegals. America is one of the few nations in the world, y'all, there's like literally a handful of nations where you could come in, have a baby, and automatically that child is considered a citizen. Nearly 90% of countries in the world do not do that. We're one of the few dumb countries that have been doing that. That's a game changer as well. Alpha, if you have nothing to say, we have the Church of Black Power.
Let me add into that what you just said right there, brother. And first off, I'm glad to share the stage with so many intelligent brothers and sisters, man. I appreciate y'all. One thing that you just said is absolutely true. When these people come over here with the birthright citizenship, they're literally coming over days before they are expected to have birth, and they're having babies in hotels and behind buildings and alleys. No lie. This is going, you can look it up. A simple search, it will yield you all the results. They're coming here to America, they're having babies in hotels, and then boom, that baby's an American citizen. Okay, that's got to go. So when Donald Trump says that he's for ending birthright citizenship, again, the average American citizen is on the side of that. When he says that he wants to deport whole families, again, the average American citizen is behind that. And I got that name, by the way, Marcel. It's the guy, Stephen Miller. That's the guy's name. He's the deputy chief of staff, and he is just as ruthless in terms of ending mass immigration as Tom Homan is. So you're starting to see everything be stacked completely against anybody who thinks that they're going to come to the United States of America, mooch off of what foundational Black Americans have created and get some type of luxury free pass. We're in really stage 2 now. I would say previous to that was stage 1, which was before the election, where these people were really running amok during the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden failure, disgrace campaign. Now we're starting to see things shift, and the sentiments of the American people are starting to be expressed even further. And there, there was a person that me and you actually ended up seeing, Marcel, and I'm talking about the South Dakota governor, Kristi Noem. Now you see her family. What did she keep talking about? She kept talking about the Canadian border, and she was very, very, very harping hard on that. Now he actually made her the Secretary of Homeland Security. So she, as me and you've seen her personally, she was completely anti-immigration. So you're talking about the North, the South, and everything in between. The dominoes are starting to fall now and getting these people out of the country. And we got to do exactly what my brother Nas was just saying. We got to stay on top of it. Okay, because if people get lazy and complacent and we just sit back, it's going to go right on back to nobody say nothing, nobody bring nothing up, then it ain't really happening, because that's what we've been really living in for the last 3 or 4 years. Nothing's going on if you don't talk about it. And just like my brother Nas said, we were the ones really exposing this. See, a lot of white folks are just saying, close the damn borders. I don't give a damn, but they weren't really doing anything. We were the ones out there with the cameras and showing what's going on in Chicago. Chicago turning up every week. New York City turning up every week. This is what we've been doing. I believe foundational Black American freedmen, we've been the ones who've been on the forefront of exposing the migrant crisis. Then I feel a lot of the Republicans and the MAGA people, they kind of jumped on board. But let's be real, y'all. They were watching a lot of videos that we were posting. A lot of the videos that you've been seeing on the internet that really swayed this election, it was coming from us. This is why they want to, end the freedom of speech. They want to stop things. They want to censor everybody from speaking, because they seen the fact that we had them cell phones. We were the ones putting this stuff on camera, posting it, getting thousands of views. And people were saying, well, damn, they are out there taking over whole apartment buildings in Colorado. That was based on foundational Black Americans truly exposing it. And once again, to my brother's point, because my brother Nas made a lot of good points, in terms of these charitable organizations, that is another thing, because I remember with the hurricanes that just passed down here in me and Marcel's area, those hurricanes basically destroyed a lot of places, obviously in Carolina and Georgia. And there is a charitable organization down here, and it's called Migrant Equity. And they were literally having food drives for migrants, meaning, translation, for anybody who doesn't get it, if you were devastated by the hurricane and you had no lights and no power and no food, and you wanted to go to one of these places, you were not eligible to get a plate of food. However, Mr. Estrada could have came and fed his whole family. Those are the things that's been happening quietly for the last 3 to 4 years. So now for the next 3 to 4 years after that, we're going to be the ones highlighting it and exposing it. Go ahead, Marcel. Then you can get to the hands, brother.
I wanted to say that Kristi Noem also brought out, she did something dirty. She modified our question, or my question about reparations, into a question that was less personally offensive to her. But remember, she also brought up, you and I, before we went in, I was telling you about these Native American reservations and how they use these Native American reservations to house and clothe and to pretty much act as places where they're going to keep these illegals. She brought that up as well. And because these Native American reservations are pretty much like their own countries, she has no jurisdiction there. Remember, she mentioned that as well. I'm going to be curious to see how the Trump administration deals with that, because they don't have any jurisdiction over these Native American reservations. However, if the illegals aren't getting in our country in the first place, they can't make it to those reservations. So I guess there's that point right there. If you have an opposing viewpoint, feel free to come up. We don't do echo chambers here, but if you come up being disingenuous, we will push back on you, as you can push back on us if you feel there's anything we have said that's not above board or that's giving misinformation. Okay, Rose City, go ahead.
What's good, family? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, but it's muffled.
Okay, yeah, I'm in the car right now. I'm about to go eat with my sister. But just a quick rundown. What Nas said in about Louisiana with those damn immigrants, they super deep down there, man. And they're taking a lot of money out of black landscapers as far as like like mowing yards and things of that nature. And they'll go out and do the yard work. The black contractors would lose their contract to the white guys with the most workers, and that's one thing that needs to be done. I think I put it on one of your posts before, Marcel. As far as when the prisoners get out, they're used to doing hard labor like that. So when they say who's gonna do the jobs, you can get those jobs to the prisoners. 3-4 years, that means they're back. They done established themselves as workers. They can go work out in the other communities, and get a better job. They can, because they established themselves as workers now. They won't have that problem as far as with jobs saying, well, hey man, y'all don't have a good work history, or y'all don't have a report as far as working. Well, if they go and get those jobs and those people keep putting money in their pockets for one, those guys have money now in their pocket. They don't have to go back to doing the shit they did before they got locked up. They got money. And if you pay them fair wages and give them benefits, then damn, they got a job for good. And they'll bring in other workers, which means you're going to continuously have workers working for you. But you go get these immigrants and these people that don't live here, don't belong here, and you steady hiring them for $2 and $3 a job instead of milking the damn country. Yeah, okay, I got a problem with that. And like Nas said, hey, take pictures of them, report them. I wish it was a nationwide bill as far as what the guy doing in Missouri for $1,000 every one you name. Hell, I got about 6 of them here in Dallas, and I'm gonna name one place that everybody from Dallas knows. Traders Village. Take your ass to Traders Village, you can make a come up. You have enough money in your pocket to buy a house after you leave there. And I'm gone.
Thank you, Rose City. The Church of Black Power?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
How are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday?
Lovely,
Blessings. I just want to, so many wonderful things have been said up here. So many great points. First and foremost, let me shout out the whole B1 family, from Sister Alpha, Brother Alpha, Marcel. I see you, Sister Brooke down there, Black Truth United. Shout out to all you guys. We're all down here holding it down the way we're supposed to. But Marcel made a great point. So many great points, to be honest with you, but I want to touch on, and I'm gonna try to be quick. I want to touch on first that Native American reservation situation, because if you guys didn't know, within the last few years, China has actually been paying the cartel to bring in a bunch of Chinese illegals in order to take them onto those reservations to work a bunch of weed farms. And the government has actually been putting together these different stings for this situation going on. So when you get a chance, look into that, because we would think that it's a bunch of different Hispanics and things like that, but it's more than that. They literally, and that's probably why China is trying to be buddy with Trump as he starts to come into office. So that was a great point, because I read and reported on that article about 1.5 years ago that they were doing this. But I want to kind of touch on what our sister Boykin was speaking about too. Shout out to her when she was saying in Los Angeles, well, California in general, these people aren't paying into any system but yet they get all these amenities and get these protections. I feel, and everybody who's a thinker feels the same way, that sanctuary cities are discriminatory in its nature. Period, point and blank. They shouldn't exist. They should be abolished, because there should be no reason why a person who pays taxes get his license suspended and he can't make it to work driving, so he has to take the bus or he has to get rides and all this other stuff. But yet an illegal citizen that does not pay into the tax system can ride around without a license in Los Angeles and several other places. They are protected against the police in several places throughout the United States. And like all of our family just brought to our attention, all of these different foundations are willingly breaking the law in order to keep these people in this country. So when D-Day comes, like our brother Nas said, we need to have all the information on these companies too. We need to have information on people who's running these companies and people who's working these companies. Like I told the story before about how I called ICE on Centerport. And Centerpoint in Texas has a monopoly, and most of their workers are Latinos. So guess what? I'm going to be making sure that they're on their job out this way, because even in Texas, there's an organization out here that when they get into the country, they give them $2,000 and then they help them get a plane ticket or a train ticket wherever they want to go throughout the United States. And this is in Austin, Texas. So we have to stay on our square when it comes to this stuff, because literally they're playing with us in our faces. And I'm be honest with you, that 1K bounty, I wish they were doing it out in Texas, because I promise you, I'll go get the first horse I can and I'll go get me a cowboy hat, because the truth of the matter is, if they had the chance, they would. As a matter of fact, they have. Especially, we need to work with ICE the way MS-13 has worked with the police in Los Angeles, in California in general, period. That's just the facts. We need to work with ICE the way MS-13 works with law enforcement, because they have no problem with making sure we are the target of everything. And I've seen this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you've seen this video going around too, with this black rapper and this brown rapper, and they're talking about the black and brown is connected. For anybody who don't know, who's not from California, go to California and see the way the black and brown interact with each other, whether being on the streets, being in jail, especially in jail. In jail, you are a target. What do you think the term, I know you probably heard this from that comedian talking about the Mexican got on boots. What do you think that's about? It's definitely not about any black and brown alliance in that situation. No, there's never been a time in Los Angeles or anywhere in California that I've seen that the black and brown was connected in the way that they're trying to push this nonsense narrative. So we need to make sure that we don't fall into that bull stuff, because that's exactly what it is. It's bull stuff. And there is nothing to show. We could go from Nuri Martinez and the LA City Council. We can go through a lot of situations and you will not see a black and brown alliance. All you see is a bunch of black people trying to push an alliance. And like Alfred said several times, it's a no-alition. It is not a coalition, it's a no-alition. And I'm going to end off with this. You have a lot of people trying to tug on your heartstrings, or they're trying to gaslight you into believing these people need to be here by, well, their families, and talking about how who's going to pick this and who's going to do this work, who's going to do that work. And it's very, very disrespectful that they're trying to convince us that these people who broke the law, these criminals who are coming in to take your job, in the interest of a company who would rather break the law than to pay you a livable wage, is ridiculous. And we have to make sure that we call them out on that ridiculousness too, because that's exactly what it is. It makes absolutely no sense for anybody to be trying to peddle these criminals as a necessary need for America, when all they have to do is pay people what they're worth and pay people what they should be paying them, and everything will be just fine. But with that, I'll land, family.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these damn sanctuary cities go as well. I mean, how dare you say that the police will enforce this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime, but this group of criminals are exempt from being reported to the FBI when they've committed a felony. Y'all, real quick, I forgot to say this, and I always forget to do this, but if you are in the room, please share this space. Please share this space. That means please retweet it on your thread. If you want to quote tweet it and say to people, please come in, please do that. I always forget to do that. I need to get in the habit of doing that. I don't do a whole lot of spaces, so that always skips my mind. But please share this space, and you can quote tweet it and tell people to come in, because the truth be told, they are trying to make it seem like it's because of Hispanic and Latinos that the women lost. First of all, Hispanic and Latino is not a race. Let's be very clear about that. It's not a racial group at all. Hispanic and Latino is an ethnicity, and a lot of them classify themselves as white. Even when they are not, they will still classify themselves as white. I've literally met Afro-Latinos. I think I told y'all a story 3 years ago. I had a black kid from Puerto Rico, and this boy was literally classifying himself as white. We were having a Black History program, and I wanted to talk about black people throughout the world. I know there's a debate about whether black people exist outside of America or whether the term black should only exist here in America. I'm not getting into that. I believe that racially speaking, there are black people throughout the world. So I want to do a part about black people throughout America. And I asked if he will represent Puerto Rico. Even though Puerto Rico is an American territory, culturally, is different from the contiguous 50 states of America. And this boy looked at me with a big afro and said, Mr. Dixon, I'm white. Literally. I called his mother. I was so aghast, even though I knew that this was something that happens. And his mother said, oh, no, he's black. Where did he get the he's from? But the way she said it, I can tell that she only said that because she was speaking to me, a foundational Black American, a freedman, and she felt embarrassed that I was calling her out on it. So you have millions. The census called Hispanic and Latinos out on this, y'all. The census wrote an article saying something like, I think 3 million to 4 million Puerto Ricans in America who are black classify themselves as. If you Google it, you will find it. So my point is, Hispanic and Latino is not a racial group. So when they try to make it seem like Hispanic and Latinos are the reason why the women lost, they only try to bring them up as a racial group when they're trying to take credit from us. And the data has already come out revealing that. They did an article in Georgia, and the article said that based on the data that was collected, if they had increased the black turnout by 1.9%, just 1.9%, the woman would have won Georgia. But they also said in that article, if the black turnout had increased by just 2%, the black turnout, the woman would have won the race. We're the reason she lost. We are the ones who are really getting the smoke behind this mass deportation initiative. Conservatives, big by and large, not the ones in office, but the ones who are not in office, they've always wanted these illegals to go. Always. The reason this is a thing now, the reasons that it has newfound momentum is because we have put that newfound momentum there. Okay? Alpha, they're not going to say anything, is Big Boda, that is black, truth, that is black, is back to the church for Black Hour.
Let's get to the family. Go ahead, Boda.
Hey, what's up, family? I just want to make a quick, important point, man. On one side of the game, you got immigrants trying to drag us into their deportation business. That ain't really got nothing to do with us. We not getting deported anywhere. On the other side of the game, you know, after the election, they was kind of getting bold, like a little too bold about what they're going to do if they see ICE agents coming, you know, talking about violence and stuff. I need the family to like document that, screenshot that, record that, you know, because anytime you talk about violence against a government agent, that's a problem. You know, and if they talk about violence towards them, you know, these is in neighborhoods where our elderly and our young people are at. We got to protect our people first. You see what I'm saying? So make sure y'all document that, get these people out the paint, because, you know, all this violence we're not having it. You know, we're not going to tolerate that. So, yeah, I just wanted to make that quick point. Record, screenshot, all that. And I'll land there. Y'all take care, man.
Thank you, Big Baller. Let me push back on something that I hear people say a lot. Not anything Big Baller said, just in general. I've even seen some of the people affiliated with Trump say this, not Stephen Miller and definitely not no Tom Homan. I've heard people say, well, we're going to deport the criminals, or we're going to deport all illegals, including the law-abiding ones. There is no such thing as a law-abiding illegal immigrant. The fact that you're in this country illegally makes you a criminal. They are all criminals. I'm not saying some of them are not nice people. I'm not even going to say a lot of them are not good people. I'm sure a lot of them are good people. I'm sure a lot of them are nice people. You know what else I'm sure of? A lot of them are anti-freeman, anti-foundational Black American bigots. You can tell by the way they treat the Black people in their nations. We're talking about Latin America. I've been all throughout Latin America. I've been to, give me a minute, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've been to 6 Latin American nations. Okay, ones that have very small Black populations like Guatemala, to ones that are vastly majority Black, like 96% Black like Haiti, to ones that have very, very, very large Black populations, even though we are not the majority, like Colombia, where like 36% of the population are Afro-Colombians. And Brazil, that has a majority Black population, even though the majority of that Black population is visibly mixed, they just look blacker, aesthetically speaking, than they do more European. And the Black people catch pure hell in those nations. Even in the nation, even in the parts of those countries where the people live in squalor, the Black people are always far poor. So you can tell by the way they treat the Black people in their nations. They bring that same sentiment here. Also, some of you may not know her. I didn't know her that well until recently, but she's like one of those activists, a quote unquote progressive. One thing that I do agree with her, she gives the Democratic Party hell, and I do agree with her there. But Afeni and the guy from the Fred Hampton Rebels or whatever he calls himself, what is his name? Oh, damn, what's his name? I get into it with him all the time. I cannot remember his name right now, y'all. I was on Savvy Savs, and I got into a debate with them. And they was like, oh, so illegal immigration is the issue, not supremacy? You don't got nothing to say about the white supremacy and the racists? The illegal immigrants are the supremacists or the wannabe supremacists. The illegal immigrants are the anti-Black racists. Saying this disgusting, nasty, anti-freedman stuff, a lot of their parents came here as immigrants, whether legally or illegally. The biggest racists and biggest we face came here as immigrants. The two are not mutually exclusive. Okay? They are part and parcel. They're one whole package. Black Truth United, you have it.
Y'all have been spitting a lot of facts. I loved what Brother Nas said earlier. He was talking about how easy it is to look up these businesses, getting how easy it is to get information on them, cross-referencing them with LinkedIn. It's not very difficult to get the information needed to report these businesses to ICE. I'm really hoping that they're going to pass stricter and more punitive laws against these businesses because, like you've mentioned, Brother Black Alpha, Marcel, really everyone who's certified has mentioned, it's really these businesses who are causing this mass immigration. They're behind the scenes a lot of times, with whether it's through third-party companies or they themselves, they're behind a lot of the mass immigration. But I also do want to agree with Brother Marcel when you said that you reported things with ICE. I want to definitely recommend that everyone waits until after January 21st. You know, still keep the number, the 866-347-2423, but wait until after January 21st. Well, after January 20th, because I too have reported plenty of businesses where I know, I mean, they have at least 98 to 99% of people working for them who are illegals, and they just refuse to do anything. Nothing happens at all. They just refuse to do anything. So we really have to wait for the Trump administration to get in office before we can start seeing some changes. And like others have mentioned, we definitely can't have any sympathy, any kind of tears welling up in our eyes. That's silly talk at this point. We don't know how long we're gonna have to be able to call ICE and call them twice, because this administration is kind of like a one of a kind scenario. Hopefully, we can get some more solidified laws passed, either through local legislation or on a state level, going up to the federal level, where we can make some of these changes permanent. But while the iron is hot, we definitely need to cook. And with that, I'll land.
Let me hop on in there real quick, family. Y'all been making a lot of great points. I want to add to it as well. My brother Church of Black Power, he made a very, very good point about the people who are coming here to the United States of America. In particular, a lot of Chinese people. They're the fastest growing migrants in the U.S. All right. You can go right on down to any border spot and you see them pull up. I actually always on my broadcast, I show a clip of somebody where they just ask people, they say, where you from, where you going? All right. And they're going to every single city in the United States of America, but they're coming from all over the world. And remember, again, Donald Trump was saying this during the campaign process. He was saying that they were coming from Africa, and the Democrats didn't want to acknowledge that. He was saying they were coming from China, and the Democrats didn't want to acknowledge that because it's what I call shadow migrants. And it was really a shadow migrant invasion. And the Democrats were completely hidden about it, very, very cautiously. They would dance around it. Kamala would never say anything. But one thing that happened during this election is they seen that there's a middle ground between the immigrants going home and black folks not voting for the Democrats. So anybody from the Donald Trump administration or anybody from that side of the fence, they can see a potential area where they can gain black folks either interest or they can make black folks not vote for the Democratic Party. So a lot of elections now are going to ride on whether or not these people have a migrant crisis. So like my brother Black Truth United just stated, we have 4 years to make very, very prominent political business decisions, dealings, and practices with these people who are anti-immigration. That's a good thing for us because now they're saying, well, hell, black folks completely stayed home. Black folks basically cost Kamala Harris this election, and the main thing was immigration. So now when 2028 comes around, they're going to look and say, okay, where can we gain ground with black Americans? Okay, make sure this immigrant invasion stays home. They know we watching right now. Hell, they watching us. They're in the space right now. They listen, and they always listen. When I speak, Marcel speaks, they listen. And Democrats are, Republicans are. Why do you think Donald Trump was running around here talking about black jobs? He got that from listening to the black grassroots. And Coulter's running around here talking about foundational black Americans. They listening to us, and they see an opportunity for us to cripple and continue to cripple the Democrats. They know where our disconnect is with the blue party. They know where our disconnect is. So just being someone who is politically savvy enough, they're going to look at 2028 and they're going to say, if we carry out these deportations, like we said, black folks are going to continue to either A, turn out for us, or B, just don't turn out for the Democrats. That is picture perfect positioning for us to be in if we play our cards right. So like my brother just said, we have to stay on it. and do exactly what everybody's saying. Keep recording it, keep exposing them, keep calling ICE. And the more they see that we are for deportations, the more they're going to continue out deportations, because they've seen us abandoning the Democrats because they are a party of open borders. It is a great time to be foundational Black Americans if we have a position. That's why the Democrats are so afraid, because they're starting to realize Black Americans resisted us based on this. The whole damn country resisted them based on this. And if we play our cards right, which we are, we play our cards right, we can send these people home, and then we can continue to downplay anybody who supports open borders. That right there is a political victory that, quite frankly, hasn't been achieved amongst the community in 60 years. But it's a new time and it's a new day. Black Church, then back to my brother, Black Truth United. Go ahead, family.
Yes, sir. You just stumped me on that one because I have to follow that. My brother Dewey, he be doing it. But you just mentioned something that's very, very true. Right now, we've made talking about illegal immigration smut on the Democrats' neck. So after this election, anybody who's bringing up illegals or bringing in migrants or the tough time that they have to get here, to come to get, no, that's just going to make people look at them like they're. We're no longer on that whole, oh, we want to help the world. The world isn't helping us. And we're fighting to survive in a land that we built, that our ancestors built, that we was denied opportunity in, while you're sitting here trying to give a bunch of tear jerkers to give somebody else the opportunities that we were denied. No. That's now going to the wayside. And I'm very happy with that. But our brother Marcel mentioned something that really hit me hard. And I wanted to mention it the last time, but I skipped past it. He mentioned the clause in the birthright citizenship, where he spoke about how if you have an allegiance to a different country, that clause cannot apply. I'm going to be honest with you, family. All of these people that comes in to America have a dual allegiance. Every single one of them. When have you never seen somebody come into America and start waving around their country's flag? When have you ever seen a Flag Day parade where there's nobody there but Americans? All of these people have dual citizens, dual allegiances. I don't know why I'm skipping on that. If not dual citizenships. So this should be an issue off the vert. This should be an issue. Anybody we see with a flag that isn't an American flag, that should be a problem. Because if you were wanting to be an American, if you fought so hard to get to America so that you can have opportunity, wouldn't you be the biggest supporter and the biggest advocate for the country that gave you opportunity and not the one that bled you out of it? See, these are the questions that we got to start asking, because a lot of these folks, they play in our faces. They will lie to us and say they're proud to be an American. I'm in America. But then they'll go wave a Puerto Rican flag in your face, talking about the Puerto Rican contributions to hip hop, even though it doesn't exist. This is the problem. So we must be able to read through the lines on those things as well. But also, I know y'all seen the videos of like the illegals cooking on the street using grocery carts and things like that. When the hell have you ever seen any of us, let that be in a Black American, sitting on the corner selling hot dogs legally with a hot dog cart, and he's still going to get pressed for all the documents and everything else? These folks are sitting on a corner cooking using grocery carts. And cooking, God knows what they're cooking on those grocery carts. The FDA ain't coming at them. The police ain't coming at them. This is collusion. This is what it is. It's collusion. And if this is why we have to be on our square so tough, because they will try to walk you past the criminal element in order to take you to this baby down the street that you don't have no ties to. And their parents are over here trying to destroy everything that your family didn't build. All in a interest of opportunity. But I'll land there, family.
They don't think the law applies to them because it hasn't. It has not been applied to them. So that's the slippery slope that we're on. You allow them to come into our nation illegally. You reward them for it. So we should not be surprised that when they don't have to get permits to have a vendor stand, that they don't feel they should have to learn English, and we should learn their language. When they don't obey the rules of the law of the interstates and the highways, it's because they don't feel the law applies to them, because the law has not been applied to them. That's the slippery slope you put people on when you don't enforce the law, and the fact that they should not be here anyway. Y'all, one of our 7-year-old foundational Black American freemen children is now because of an illegal caused an accident. And from what I read, her mother is hospitalized and she's going to have to learn to walk all over again. It happened in Texas. Her name's Ivory Smith. You can look it up. This would not have happened had the illegal not been led into our nation in the first place. There's on the hands of all the politicians who let this illegal in here, and the hand of the corporation who hired that illegal.
And real quick, just to throw something right on the end of that, they're trying to make saying speak English in America a hate crime. If that doesn't show you the collusion that's going on behind the scenes, I don't know what will. Because as an American, I grew up speaking English. Period, point and black. I didn't grow up speaking anything outside of that. Now I can understand people wanting to be bilingual and have businesses that will, bring in all kinds of people. But basically all you're telling us, if we don't speak bilingual, if we're not bilingual, then we don't get the job, while people who just came into this country who don't speak English but can speak Spanish do. But I just want to throw that in real quick.
That's a great point, brother. And Americans are seeing all of that as an absolute travesty. There's no reason that should occur in the United States of America. And you made another good point, my brother, when you were talking about these people waving their flags here. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, if you go back to the 1960s, 1950s, these folks would be seen as communists and they'll lock your ass up. But think about what they celebrate here, right? You want to talk about these people. They come here and they celebrate what? Mexican Independence Day, but you celebrate that in the United States? You celebrate Cinco de Mayo in the United States, Caribbean Heritage Day, Caribbean Parade, Puerto Rican Day Parade. Look what foundational Black Americans celebrate. Half of the holidays, or whatever you want to call them, were started by us anyway. Memorial Day, that's one of them. Veterans Day, all of those things. Okay, we don't have to celebrate something outside of America because all of our accomplishments came in America because we created America. It's the difference between us and them. They have to celebrate things that went on outside of these borders, which let us know that their allegiances are outside of these borders. That's why they send money to their family members outside of these borders. So these people, in essence, come to this country with a belief, a approach, and just a thought process that I'm only here in America to take. Family, they take it fast as you can make it. And they don't have no goddamn problem. And then like my brother Marcel was saying, these people come here with anti-foundational Black American hatred anyway. See, what they don't understand, if we want to get to that side of it, because this is a multifaceted issue, but if you want to get to the other side, that these folks do not like us, they don't like us based on the pure fact is that in their home countries, anybody who's darker complected, they can punk them. All right. And in their country, their continent, wherever, they don't respect darker complected people. When they get here, then the tides turn. Everything flips. They're dealing with people who are proud and who check their ass. And here comes a lot of the animosity. And then you add that on top, that immigration is about proximity anyway. They want to be next to Karen and Ken because they want to be near them. So nothing is really working for them. And they also don't like the fact that they treat darker complected people in their homelands like second-class citizens. When they come here, they realize that they have to be the second-class citizens, and we are the creators, the foundations. That does not sit right with these people. So it harbors up a whole lot of animosity, spite, jealousy, and envy. And that's why previous to this election, they were being very arrogant. We've seen it. We ain't got to go nowhere. Every single day you had some type of tether, foreigner, migrant, and they was talking reckless about foundational Black Americans because they thought that they were going to be granted 4 years of protection, luxury hotels, money, allowances, EBT cards, you name it. And then it flipped on them came November 5th. And now they're seeing us basically popping popcorn and laughing. None of this really sits right with the migrant because they have to go home. And they don't like the fact that the Black people here, we run this. And now they have to run back to the border. That's why a lot of them are re-fleeing, all right? And it's reverse migration. They're literally out here right now telling people that you need to self-deport because they know people are going to start showing up at their places of employment, schools, because trust me, they're watching some of these kids that are going there and they're seeing that their parents are illegal. So the kids are basically going to rat out the damn parents. And let me say this about ICE real fast, okay? This thing that they're going to try to do and make us feel sentimental and emotional about these migrants, that's not going to happen based off America's fed up with this stuff. However, if you want to add to that, a lot of people who are going to be calling ICE are going to be fellow Latinos. They calling ICE fellow Africans, people who have came to the United States of America and they have their papers. They're calling ICE on their own family members who don't have theirs because they all have a backstabbing culture anyway. They want to get everything for their goddamn self and they don't want to share it. That's a fleer anyway. Are you surprised that a fleer, someone who left their homeland, is willing to sell out other people from their homeland? No. So I'm seeing a lot of Latinos, they're saying call ICE on grandma, call ICE on auntie, uncle, cousin, it don't matter because they're coming here and they're trying to get the resources from not only people who are natural Americans, but people who came here and been naturalized. That is the thing that's really big. And me being the certified foundational Black American asshole that I am, I'm going to go ahead and instigate that. I want Julio to call ICE on Estrada. I want Estrada to call it on Mr. Mutombo on Mr. Lumbumba, and y'all can go all the way down the goddamn list. Keep calling ICE on each other because I'm going to call ICE on you, and then we just going to have a whole goddamn country of people who are calling ICE. And when you call ICE, eventually these people are all going to have to go home. So translation is they lost. And all that shinning and grinning and all that arrogance that they had previous to the election, they don't have it anymore. And foundational Black Americans are exactly where we started. I tell everybody, you look across America, everyone's nervous, everyone's worried, and the only people who have a calm look are us. Why? Is because we started on code and we're going to finish on code, and these people are all going home. Marcel, it's you, brother.
You know, the people who I have met that they're underestimated in regards to their sentiment against the illegal immigration invasion are legal immigrants, the ones who came here legally. I had a good friend. She just passed away. I'm still coping with it. She was from the Philippines, and she was vigorously against the illegal immigration invasion. I have taught many people who are of Hispanic ethnicity who came here legally. They absolutely despise people from Latin America who came here illegally. I have met people like my friend who was from the Philippines who came here legally. They despise who came here illegally. Same thing with Africans who came here legally. They despise the Africans that came here illegally. With Europeans, it goes on and on and on. I have found that people who immigrated legally, they're actually offended when you think or assume that because they're immigrants, they are going to be sympathetic to illegal immigrants. They're actually offended by that assumption. Their attitude is that they spent a lot of money, they work hard to go through the legal process, and the fact that people could come here illegally and then demand to be rewarded for it, get free housing, free clothing, free food, free transportation, free job training, free legal representation, when they got none of that and they had to struggle to get here, it deeply offends them. So I just want us to be cognizant of that as well. I'm not saying these people are allies of ours, but I'm saying that when it comes to this particular issue, a lot of times their sentiment is just like ours. They absolutely have a deep-seated hatred towards illegal immigration. So you're absolutely right, Alpha, and I'm glad you brought that up because I probably would have forgotten about that. Yes, people who immigrated here legally, They are absolutely offended by the presence of illegal immigrants, offended by it. And I bet you they'll probably call him more than us.
Think about the campaign trail. Think about the campaign trail and how we were sold out again by the Democrats. When Donald Trump came out and said they're taking black jobs, all the black Democrats tried to spin it like he said something racist, right? But think about how the Latinos responded to that, because he said that the illegals are taking Latino jobs and black jobs. The Latinos understood exactly what he was saying. He was like, yep, damn well. Yep, that's true. They are taking our jobs. So that showed already that it was only really the black Democrats who tried to make it look like they didn't understand what he was saying. So basically, they were a willing participant in seeing illegals take other black people's jobs. However, the Latino community, they were not willing to go there. They were all on board saying, I understand what you said, Mr. Trump. Yes, they are taking our jobs. Send their home. So that shows you the disconnect between the black Democrats who have been the facilitators of this migrant crisis, and how when Kamala Harris did interviews, they were talking to her about what she had for lunch and everything. It was everything except for the migrant crisis. And the migrant crisis is on the front page of America, and it's all based on us. We've been the ones exposing it, reporting it, and really putting it out there. So if you look at this election, and they know, they may not admit it, accept it, or acknowledge it, but they know for a fact that it was because foundational Black Americans exposed it, and we brought this message about this migrant crisis to the world, why people did not vote for Kamala, why we stayed home, and why she lost. And if we can replicate that for 2028, then guarantee the Democrats will lose again, and then again, and then again. And it's going to set the precedence that people coming here to America and being elevated above Americans is a political tactic. And once you're in that position, you succeed. And that's why we win it right now. Go ahead, bro.
I'm going to let Eric go. I just want to say this really quick. And I know it's not everybody's thing. You know, everyone doesn't necessarily like to travel, because truth be told, America is such a large country and we are very culturally diverse. You can technically stay in America and have an experience that almost provokes the same sensations as if you're traveling to another country. But I've been to other countries, and when I was in these other countries, I adhered to their laws to get to those countries. If they had a visa process, I followed that visa process. When I was in those countries, I went out of my way to respect their customs and traditions. I didn't go there demanding special treatment. I didn't go there thinking the rules that I'd apply to me. So it offends me too. So I can imagine how those legal immigrants feel. Because I've been to quite a few countries and I always went there adhering to their laws. When these Democrats and these Republicans too try to play this whole game of, well, these will be great citizens, they're hardworking. No, they would not. You know how we can prove that they would not make good citizens? Because the first act they did to get into our country was to break our laws. That already shows that you will be a criminal in our country because you committed a crime to get into our country. I land there. Eric, I believe you're next.
Thank you, Brother Marcel. Can everybody hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right. The only thing I don't agree with is, doing things for, like calling ICE for free, because we haven't been compensated for these past decades. But I do understand that us calling ICE is a major benefit to us. We need to get compensated, and they definitely do need to pass this law in every state. And while we're waiting for this momentum to shift over to our side, we definitely do need to be practicing, power tool training, because not playing for keeps. We should be using the necessary laws within our standards to practice our Second Amendment rights. And I can't wait till January 20th. I've been looking at the Ice Ice Baby music video. I think ICE should use that in their commercials. They should be having mariachi dancers in the music video, like Gerardo, straight up Rico Suave vibes in the video. They should be using the necessary tools and all the resources to make sure that they send a message to Central America, the diaspora, the Caribbean, but any other place that is coming into the United States of America that's a floodgate in our country with illegal. And this should not be our job to try to get rid of these people. You have an administration and you have the power to do anything in the United States of America, let alone open the floodgate for more illegal aliens to come in. But I think that over the next couple of years, we can put this power within ourselves to make sure that they can go back to their country and finally do something for themselves. You don't hear a lot of these tethers actually trying to go back to their homelands and help their people. We see numerous videos of their people suffering, with with situations going on in their homeland. You got other immigrants coming into their homeland telling them what to do, but you have the nerve to come into the United States of America, where my people and all of us have fought to get into the position that we're already in. But they're not handling business with this illegal immigration situation. They so busy hating on other people, but they can't handle their business within their homeland, let alone in their house. And I land my plane.
Very, very good point. And that's another thing. They always say, again, how they built up, how they're essential to build up our nation, when the nation they're from is not even built up. But again, I need people to understand, a lot of these illegals, even the ones that come here legally, to be honest, they're not coming to America because they love America. Because we had the Great Recession, you could look at the data. A lot of them were leaving America to go to the next country from whom they wanted to leech, or to return to their home country. When America provides opportunity for them, they love America. The moment America is in need, they want to leave America. That's another reason why they will not make good citizens. They're here to leech off of America. They're only here to take and to get what they can from America. When America needs them, they will run. If we were attacked today by a foreign enemy and we were to go at war, the first people to leave and retreat would be these illegals. Or hell, they would take up arms against America. That's why it's the dumbest thing in the world to try to say these illegals were entitled to Second Amendment rights. Why would you want to arm people who are criminals and who have no loyalty and have shown no allegiance to this nation? Absolutely insane. Alpha, if you have nothing to add, is Black Truth United, and then there is Nas. And when it gets back to me, I want to talk about actions we can take and how we need to just not like tweets on Twitter, but we really need to take this action in our day-to-day lives. Black Truth United, and then it's Nas.
Salute, family. There's a lot that I wanted to touch on, but you kind of just hit it right on the head, Brother Marcel. I was going to bring up, because Brother EJ was talking about the power tools, and we need to remember that a judge ruled, I believe it was in Illinois, I could be wrong, but a judge ruled literally that illegal migrants who are in the country, who broke the law to get in the country and who are here, essentially they are unconvicted felons. They can now possess and carry firearms. So how is this possible? And I also want you to think about the fact that a lot of these places that are hiring these illegals wouldn't hire a brother or sister who has had a felony, a brother or sister who's been run through the toxic and unjust jail to prison, or sorry, school to prison pipeline into the prison industrial complex. They won't give jobs to that brother or that sister, but they'll give jobs to these illegals who broke the law. They are criminals. They're just not convicted. They're just not prosecuted. They're criminals, but they want to be all tough on crime and everything when it comes to us, keeping us out of these jobs, keeping us from being able to practice our Second Amendment rights, keeping us from being able to get these resources that they get. I mean, job training programs. Wouldn't it make sense to give our, ex-felons, as long as they haven't, done anything to children or anything like that, wouldn't it make sense to give them the job training? Wouldn't it make sense to give them the resources, the scholarships, things so that they can improve their lives? I mean, I get really tired when I hear about things like that ruling with the illegal immigrants being able to get guns. But anyway, I do want to add one more thing. The Church of Black Power brought out a point about speaking, and I was telling, I don't know exactly which space it was, but I was telling someone else that they've actually come up with loopholes where even if you're bilingual or multilingual, like myself, you're unable to get different positions because you're not a native speaker. You see, they have these loopholes. So even if you know Spanish, se habla español, even if you know multiple languages, they won't hire you. They'll hire someone who's native, and it doesn't matter how bad their English is. I mean, we've all had that phone call. We call up Xfinity or whoever it is, and hello, welcome. How can I help you? Can't understand half the words they're saying. You know, we've all experienced this. What they're do, but they, I just want to say they have multiple ways to keep people out of these jobs, and it's really getting annoying. And that's why it's ICE 2025. I'll give you that number one more time, and then I'll go ahead and drop down 866-347-2423. That's 866-347-2423. And with that, I'll end.
Let me say that point you brought out. I was told that years ago, someone was telling me, I believe they were a language teacher, and they were saying that we need to learn an exotic language like Arabic or Chinese, but not Spanish or Hindu. I'm trying to think of other language that might be spoken here in America on a more common basis in some areas, because they were saying that even if we speak the language like a native, they will never, ever, ever hire us over a native. And I remember these little snobs, where y'all can't handle competition. Keep in mind now, these illegals and these wannabe bigots, they've had the entire government on their side. They've had corporations on their side. They've had Jim Crow on their side. They've had all of that on their side, and they're telling us that we're the ones afraid of competition. But they were saying that they will never hire us over a native speaker. So all this time, we've been telling people, learn a language, learn a language, learn a language. It will increase your job opportunities. And this person was saying to us, that's a lie. They were saying that's always been a lie, because they speak several languages like a native, and they've been told to their face that they will prefer a person who has that language as their native tongue. So I've actually heard that before, Black Truth United. So thank you for bringing that out. Nas, it's on you.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how a lot of times those things they tell us that we should do ends up being a situation where no matter if you do them and you do them great, you're still at a disadvantage. I think someone brought up a couple days ago how like they were like, how come all these schools and colleges, have all these STEM programs if they know that, the job's gonna go to the Indians? And I was like, well, these programs, they get paid whether you get a job or not. So to them, they still good. So you go pay, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000 to go get trained or whatever. You get in the market and they give your job to Paresh, or Mr. Patel, and you looking crazy. But let me look at my little notes. I wrote some notes. I just wanted to say this about what Black Truth has said. Something about let's say people who have come out of prison, and I think someone else said that too. I think Eric or something. Yeah, but there's a company, and I haven't double checked to research it, but I bought some of their products. I think it's a white-owned company. I think I'm not, but it's called Dave's Killer Bread, and literally they hire felons to work at Dave's Killer Bread. So it's like a little play on the name, you know what I mean? So basically, they take people who have been in prison and then give them a job, give them some decency, and they make some really good bread, man, some brownies and all kind of stuff, man. Them boys be cooking. But anyway, let me get on to what I was gonna say. The thing about how we know that a lot of these cultures have anti-black, racist beliefs. The thing is, I think that some Americans are really fooled by these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense that, think about this: you're a white business owner, okay, and let's say you're in the South or whatever. Now you start hiring a bunch of illegals. Okay. Now you have a son. Now you should, your son should be there and be learning the business so that he can, carry on the business like a dad, should do. But now you got a bunch of illegals there. And what you don't realize is if your son is working there and he's working with a bunch of illegals, what you're really doing is training his competition. Because at the end of the day, you've already blocked out other Americans and Black Americans from getting those jobs. And you say, hey, whoever you are, you're in, there's always usually there's like a boss, and then there's like some illegal who can speak English, or he might even be a legal person. I'm not even sure, but they can speak both languages really good, and they kind of manage the guys underneath, right? So basically, you're basically creating so many competitors for yourself, and it's just going to be I mean, you can look at it in Texas and in California. They eventually just take over, right? They take over everything. So you're basically giving your future away to a hostile force, and then you want to sit around and talk about Trump 2024. Man, you better get the fuck out of here, because you don't even know what America First is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people just say sometimes, and they don't really be about it. Now, I'm not saying it's all of them, but some of them really be on some vanity shit. They just want to be on a team that's winning and pretend like they care about America when they up here hiring all these legals, basically destroying the future of America at the same time. But let me see. Let me check my little notes. Oh yeah. Someone said, making my black alpha about people self-deporting. Two things. On one hand, they're going to try to overblow that, and make it seem like, oh, everybody leaving, so y'all don't have to mass deport them. No, no, no. Some may be leaving, but the only reason those are leaving is because they know that if they're caught, to my knowledge, if you're caught and they deport you, I think, doesn't that add like a 10-year ban so you can't come back to the US or something like
Right.
that? So,
You're
right?
you're supposed to be permanently banned.
Yeah,
If you
permanently
self
banned.
if you self-deport, you have the option of still coming back. That's why they like to give Obama that label as deporter in chief, which was false. Obama was not the deporter in chief. What happened with Obama, a lot of people self-deported. He allowed a lot of people who were going to be denied asylum, he gave them the option to self-deport, and they did. So that counted as a deportation for him. And then he went ahead and gave these dreamers, while we're going through the American nightmare, and he sat back and let that nightmare continue, he gave these illegals the Dream Act, and he gave 1 million of them protected status through executive order. So a lot of those deportations that they like to credit to Obama, a lot of those were self-deportation of illegals that left during the Great Recession. They also ignore how many he let in. So right, if you self-deport, you still have the option of coming back. Whereas if you're deported, you are supposed to be permanently banned. I think there is an option where you get a 10-year ban, but if you're self-deported, you still have the option of coming back legally.
Yeah, and thanks for that information. Because we definitely need clarity in all these. I need, like, for example, I knew that Obama had deported people, but yeah, I didn't even know that he allowed for that self deportation. But
Yep, look it up. That's why his numbers are inflated. A lot of those deportation numbers that people like to credit to Obama, a lot of those are self-deportations.
oh, that's something else. About people contacting ICE. I can't remember because I know there's a way to contact anonymously, but I don't know if because I've done it before. I've done both ways, like anonymous and not anonymous. But let's say for people who are worried about, oh, I don't want to, you could do it anonymously. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they go online to do it, or if you just call from a dummy number or whatever, man. You find a way to report these people when we know they might do something, which will be next year once Trump gets in there. And there's one other thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, so thinking about this long term, about what we have to do, because let's just say there's about at least 40, let's say 40, 60 million of these illegals here. This is going to be a very hard task for us to get these people out of here. Um, it's going to be time consuming. We have to stay solid, and we have to make sure that the Republicans, because they're the ones currently attempting to do this, or at least the Trump Republicans are currently trying to do this, we got to stay on their ass, because they got Vivek swirling around, hanging out with them, and Vivek, he's 100% to take our jobs. So even though we got to get these illegals out, we got to stop the outsourcing, where they go and set up a call center in Punjab, and then, so we got to stop all of this stuff, and it's going to be serious. And I'm looking at it in pieces. So. At first, I was going to tell y'all, hey, we got to do all we can this next 4 years. And that's true. But really, we got to do all we can in the next 2 years, because the Democrats are going to try to pull out all the stops when it comes to their midterm elections. So let's just say they get a little bit more power. That means it's going to weaken what we're trying to do. So we got to get as many of these illegals out of here in the next 2 years as possible, then continue for the 2 years after that. And then until we could find, I mean, at this point, when Trump gets out of there, I'm ready to put Vance in there, only because he understands the immigration issue. That's the reason. If he didn't understand the immigration issue, would have tossed his ass out too. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna try to run. Some people say they might try to run AOC or they're gonna try to run Gavin Newsom. I don't care who they run, because no matter who they run, they're gonna have the same policies that Kamala and Biden had. They just gonna talk different. See, we're never gonna have it as easy as we had it, even though it wasn't easy because she had billions of dollars behind her and the media behind her. But what I'm saying is, we're never gonna have it that easy again. Like, he not gonna sit here and start saying he black or saying like, I mean, he not gonna be doing that stuff. He out there. If y'all seen them videos he doing recently, he up there acting like he cleaning up trash in California. I tell you, I mean, he was out there picking trash up, looking disgruntled and shit, like he did this like for 365. Anyway, man, let me just not get on that. Anyway, and then I wanted to say something about training, and I do believe that people do have to get comfortable having power tools and all that. But another thing is, I used to do martial arts back in the day. I have a black sensei. And I tell you right now, man, this dude is literally like the black Bruce Lee. I saw him earlier this year. This man is rock solid. He might be 50-some years old. You would think he was 40 or 30. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, we have to sharpen
Who
our
is
bodies.
this?
Do what?
Who is this?
I'll tell you in private. I don't want to put his name out there right now, but yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
he's solid. But what I'm saying is, I saw him early this year, and I said, hey man, how you been? How everything going? He's like, oh, I mean, still running the shop, but I train, 6 classes, a week, and I started, and they started, training with me, like just right there on the spot. We start doing like just little movements, and I'm like better than he was when he trained me. He's like, yeah, I changed the system. I was like, what you mean you changed the system? He said, remember how we used to block and kind of move them out of the way? He said, we don't do that anymore. I was like, what do you mean you don't do that anymore? He said, we block and we destroy. And so anyway, what I'm saying is, sharpen your mind, sharpen your body, just in case. But I'm just saying, sharpen your mind, sharpen your body. And besides that, start a business. I have a business and I'm very comfortable. My stress is not high when it comes to money or anything like that. So just keep building. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
But that is something I recommend as well. I've always recommended that. I've always said that we need to make sure that we keep our bodies up as well. I think obesity is too big of an issue in our community. That's something we need to talk more in detail about at another time. It's really too big of an issue in our community, but that is a very, very good point to bring up. Alpha, I'm not sure if you want to add anything. If not, we have Hell No, I'm Not African next.
Yeah, I got a question. I got a question for the family. I got a real good question. I want to ask you, Nas, Marcel, and anybody. Is there such thing as a legal, illegal immigrant? I just want to know.
That's an oxymoron. Absolutely not. The two cannot coexist. I made that tweet, I think last month or so. There is no such thing as a law-abiding illegal immigrant. And I am going to fight back against that every single time I hear it. Every single time I hear it. You can never, ever be a law-abiding illegal immigrant. If you are a law-abiding illegal immigrant, you could be a law-abiding illegal immigrant in your home country, not in ours.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, illegals in the name, but also I think we should stop calling these illegals immigrants, because I don't feel like they're even immigrants at this point in time. They're invaders. So let's call a spade a spade. These are illegal invaders. They invaded a land that they did not have access to, and now they're thinking that they should get amenities that they don't deserve to be here.
I'm going to throw something in there as well, family. I like that. That's a great one. Invader. Absolutely. Because when you're coming in and you're breaking the law, well, you invaded the country. I don't know if we got any 80s babies or 90s babies in the building, you know what I'm saying? Or even my 70s babies. If y'all in there, you know what I'm saying? I'm an 80s child, but much love. Y'all remember when it was illegal aliens? That's what it was when we were all younger. And remember, Barack Obama's the one who was pushing the campaign to remove that, because it was illegal alien really until the Obama administration.
I'm an 80s baby as well, and I grew up, people just said illegals, okay? And Cesar Chavez, he used to call them illegals. Every other word out his was illegals. There is something I want to go back to that Nas mentioned. Nas mentioned J.D. Vance. You know what I would support J.D. Vance when it comes to this issue of immigration? Because J.D. Vance is unique in that he recognizes it's not just illegal immigration. J.D. Vance is the one person in Congress who also speaks out against mass immigration via legal immigration. He consistently mentions how legal immigration is a problem too. He consistently mentions how companies need to be held accountable and how they need to be made to pay Americans a fair wage. He consistently mentions how deportations is a job creation program, because if you deport illegals, you will now have to fill those jobs with Americans. He also mentioned how deportations are a housing program, because you will now have to house people in those now vacant units. So he seems to have the most nuanced grasp of the matter than other people. Hell no, I'm not African. It's on you.
I didn't mean to hit the button. I'm sorry. I'm just listening. My bad.
That's okay. I'll drop you down.
Well, let me say this real quick. My grandfather, he's from Shreveport, Louisiana. And you know how they love to joke around down there, and they do it in such a great manner. When I was younger, I'm an 80s baby too. When I was younger, this was like early 90s. No, it was late 90s. My grandfather had picked up me and my brother was talking about, he don't believe in aliens, this, that, and the third. And my grandfather's just driving. So we're having this conversation talking about whether or not aliens are real. And my grandfather turned around with a stone cold face. And he said, if you don't believe aliens are real, look out your window. They're still in all our jobs. I'll land there.
Shout out, man. Shout out to your grandfather, brother.
Thank you for that. It's very, I don't know how often many of us speak to people on the streets. I'm talking about those who are of the same generation as our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. But if you speak to them, a lot of them are strongly against these illegals being in our community. If you actually speak to them, a lot of them are strongly, strongly against it. Even if they vote Democrat straight down, a lot of them are not fans of these illegals being in our communities. Not at all. Alpha, I'm going to turn it over to you.
That's a good point, because, it's simple mathematics. It's simple mathematics. I'll give you an example. I was down in Florida, since, we're giving out family stories right here. I was down in Florida with my niece. Shout out to my niece. I was down there, and all the little kids was at the swimming pool, whatever, and they went to go talk to some lady, and they went over and said, hey, how you doing? The lady was like, sorry, no speak English. And they was like, damn, what? And I'm sitting there thinking, a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old know more English than this 50-year-old woman. Ain't that a damn shame? And I was telling that to my niece, and my niece said, she don't know English. I was like, nah. My niece said, then why she here? I said, well, goddamn, little Donald Trump. I'll be damned. But it goes to the point, even a elementary school kid understands when you are in a country, you speak the language. It doesn't matter. And think about what we would have to receive if we went anywhere. Marcel, you've traveled. A lot of us have traveled. We can't do none of this in any other country. One, they wouldn't allow it. First off, we're not going to go over there to these people's places and they're going to try to tell us or dictate to us. That's not going to really work, family. Foundational Black Americans, the way we operate within our country, we don't receive those same benefits and luxuries when we travel throughout the world, because these people, first off, are anti-us, but yet we don't have a moocher's mentality. Not at all. Matter of fact, they try to bring us over there to mooch off us, and then they come here to mooch off us in our homeland. So you just see a bunch of people trying to leech off of what we're doing, and that's really what it is. And there's another thing that's going on, and you've been out there really, G-checking this, Marcel, and we're going to have to go ahead and dispel this misnomer, this lie, this myth about jobs, all right? Because now they're trying to scare us back on to caring about these people. Now they're trying to say, and they've always used this is old, outdated, generic tactic. We've completely canceled it. But they're trying to say that jobs will be basically empty if we do not allow these people to come into America, as if Americans wouldn't be able to work these jobs. That's all right. That's the economy will not collapse if illegals go home. And plenty of these jobs that the illegals do, there are millions of Americans who will do them the same way. Only difference is you're not going to be able to pay people pennies under the damn table. That's the only thing. You have plenty of Black people, white people, and Latino folks that will take up the slack of these illegals going home. And then on top of that, if you want to make it further, it's not just people doing your roofs and tile, that the jobs they're taking. It's been happening and it's very, very documented. So let's not just think this is low paying jobs and labor jobs that these people are coming over here and they're taking. They're also taking a lot of high paying jobs, and they're doing it very fraudulently because they're being bumped into the front of the line. Okay, so either they're paying these people pennies, or they're giving them fake degrees, and they already have spite, jealousy, and hatred for us. So we already have to deal with the dominant society that practices malpractice on us, and then you have tethers, and they're looking at the Black American with all types of spite. So this immigration invasion affects every aspect, every corridor of American society, from the guy who's on top of your goddamn roof, to the people who are packing the goddamn boxes, or to that damn nurse who's calling you a kaka. It's all across the spectrum. And this is why we're out here completely getting rid of these folks. And this is why we're saying we call it ICE. That's why we got it on speed dial. And I got my brother, Black Truth United. Brother, can we get that ICE number one more time for the people who just came into the building, fam?
Yes, sir. That is 866-347-2423. Write that down. That's 866-347-2423.
Call ICE family on speed dial, because we in style. My brother, Sir Funk, it's on you.
Hey, family, peace to the room. And I appreciate the Black Truth reminder of the call ICE. In fact, you need to have that, like, spiked into the rest of this the rest of this space, like every 5 minutes. Just a little reminder, Black Truth. Appreciate that. I just wanted to say that I have back in the early 2000s, I had a construction and commercial cleanup business, a business that you would suspect would have, would be run by illegals and be employing illegals. And I had this in Southern California, in Los Angeles and Orange County, and I ran it for a decade before I just decided to transition off into another business that I had decided to start up. But I always made money. I always had work. I didn't even have to compete on price. And I never once hired anybody illegal to work on my jobs. It's possible to do it. You don't have to worry about being run out of the business. If you're going to do something like commercial cleanup or junk removal or anything like that, don't be fooled by the myth that that's all taken up by illegals. You can absolutely get a business like that started. You don't have to compete on price. You'll eat very well. Don't cave into the myth. And if I can do it in Southern California, illegal alien central, don't feel like you couldn't do it in your hometown. That's all I wanted to say. Yes, call ICE. Black Truth, you want to come, if you want to step back in and give that number, let's get all of these people out of our country, and appreciate the energy of the room. Peace.
Much respect. That's my good brother right there. Much, much, much respect, family. All right, let's go through the speakers. Sharifa, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, beloved.
You said it right, brother. Peace and blessings to you. I really appreciate you and all you do. I just wanted to chime in when you talk about the memories. I will be 55 on December 30th. So I was a 69 baby, and I've lived long enough to remember a time when I would look for a Black doctor because they were so rare. And I remember having a Black doctor that was an immigrant look at me and talk to me in disdain, and then try to switch to a female African doctor who had the same disdain. And so I have lived long enough to realize what a blessing it is to have a generation of us come forth and say, let's delineate. Let's recognize that as Black Americans, we have a unique experience. Let's recognize that everybody that's in our skin ain't our kin. And so it's such a blessed time to me to be standing and living in a day like this. And I just appreciate you all and all you do. Let's move forward.
Appreciate you, my sister. Appreciate you. Every time a sister come up here spitting that fire, man, I feel extra motivated. So thank you very much for that, my sister. Another thing that I wanted to bring up to everybody in here while, we in here really breaking it down. I like this because a lot of folks wanted us to basically just stop. Okay, they wanted us to just stop the election over, everybody go home. I've had so many Democratic shills that are trying to, swallow that L, pause, but they've been out here trying to get people to really just get off of Kamala and Joe Biden and just fall back. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. We have to have that same energy that we had that crippled the Democratic plantation, that really has these migrants against the ropes, because we defeated a couple things during this election, you guys. We defeated a couple things. The Boule, we defeated them. We defeated the Democratic plantation, Kamala Harris, and all the tethers out there. They all got defeated in one election. I mean, I'm talking about, it was like 5-for-1. We threw one blow and then like 7 people just dropped to the ground. That's how powerful we are, and that's how powerful we've been, and we got to continue that same energy. So we have to have these spaces consistently. Like my brother Nas said, the next 2 years are going to be very, very powerful, and then, take it to the fore, and then we're going to continue to just build and build and grow and grow. Activism never stops, and when you're on code, you got to continuously keep that energy. Another thing, too, about the self-reporting or self-deporting that these people are doing, we also have to remember a lot of the folks who are self-deporting, these are the ones who are kind of in the shadows, but you're going to have a lot of illegals that are people who own homes, and a lot of their property is going to start getting seized. All right. And I was seeing a lady, and she has a home, because y'all know they were just handing them out homes for free. And a lot of that property is going to get seized. So I want people to start following who's being deported and start seeing some of these houses, apartments, or whatever they own, because y'all know they get loans above everybody. And you're going to start seeing a lot of this stuff come up for sale. And I would love to see some of my brothers and sisters who have been in the market to go ahead and purchase some of these homes that were previously owned by an illegal, and we could just get our game up, and now we can build and we can get our real estate game popping, because y'all know what they say, a basketball player, he makes money when he's playing basketball. A football player, he makes money when he's playing football, and a person in real estate, he makes money when he's sleeping. So there's going to be a lot of stuff popping up on the market from these individuals that we can seize on. I mean, just everywhere, y'all. We went in every single aspect, all across the board, and it's a beautiful day to be FBA. When you certified all the time. So I got a question, though, for my brother Marcel. We had a border czar that was out here cackling in every interview, washing her collard greens in the bathtub, and now she's somewhere hitting that goddamn bottle in Hawaii or wherever the hell she's at, Jamaica, India, we don't know where she's from. But I got a question for you, my brother. If you were the border czar, okay, Marcel, border czar, day one, what are the things that you would institute as the new border czar of the United States of America, and how would you handle this migration crisis? Trump has his thing, Tom Homan has his thing, Stephen Miller has his own thing, but I want to hear from a real foundational Black American freedman. If Marcel's the border czar of the United States of America, what are some of your day one policies, your day two, your day three? Talk to the family.
Well, first of all, I would mandate E-Verify. That's the first thing. That's the simplest thing to do right there, is mandate E-Verify. Mandate it on the federal level and require it to be mandated on the state level. Instead of hiring more IRS agents, I would hire more ICE agents. That's 2. Number 3, I would do what this bill is proposing to do in Missouri. I would incentivize people to report illegal immigrants. Now, of course, you have a lot of these illegal immigrant lovers who would try to flood the hotline with false leads. But, you will have to investigate those leads. And I think a lot of people would try to flood it with false leads, but a lot of people would actually give tips that are verifiable, because a lot of people will want the money. Number 4, I would make it illegal I would make it required, let me put it this way, for a person to have to verify their citizenship, that they are in the country legally, before they can rent or own a home. That right there would immediately cause people to have to self-deport. And I'm not saying self-deport by going through the legal process. I mean self-deport, they would just get the hell out of our nation. If you require people to have to verify they are a citizen of our country before they can own or even rent a home, that right there would do wonders. I would do the same thing for a job. Then I will come up with ways to hold the corporations accountable. E-Verify is one thing, but verifying that people are not cooking the books when it comes to E-Verify is another thing right there. I will hire someone like that Tom Homan guy who has the zeal to want to enforce the laws of this land and put an end to this illegal immigration invasion. When it comes to legal immigration, I would have to apply a moratorium. I would allow for some exceptions, such as people who might be coming here for school. No, they will not be able to use that as a reason to stay. And no, they will not be able to come in the same numbers they're coming now. I mean, those who have already been approved, I will still allow that. If a person perhaps has a mate they've already married, things that were already grandfathered in, I will still allow that. But outside that, I will put a moratorium on legal immigration. And it will have to be a system of legal immigration that works for the American people and not just the corporations. So that means if an industry has really and has generally taken all the steps they can possibly take to fill these jobs in with Americans and they still have not been successful, then temporary visas will be allocated to immigrants just to fill those jobs until we can get Americans to do it. And while those immigrants are there, I'm going to be breathing down their backs to see if they're really doing their damnness to get Americans to fill those jobs. I will implement a mass deportation initiative. When these illegals want to go in the street and say, we're here, we're not leaving, I will pull up in a big damn 18-wheeler, have ICE agents jump out the back and round them up right then and there. Absolutely mean it.
There you go, right there. We got it all laid out right there, family. That's the initiative right there. I agree with every single thing you said, family. That right there. You do that, and I'm telling you right now, Mutombo gone, Estrada gone, they all gone. And I want everybody to also think about this, because I don't think we brought this up. Notice how you're starting to hear a lot of people who are down in Texas. I know my brother Church, he down in Texas. A lot of folks is offering their land. They out there saying, hey, Trump, we got all these acres right here, man. You want to go ahead and put up a post that is in the middle of proxy between snatching these folks up and sending them home? Here you go. I'm willing to do it. Take it or leave it. And you're also not hearing too much about build that wall. Remember that in 2020, 16, it was build that wall, build that wall, build that wall. Yeah, they're talking about tightening up the border. However, when you mass deport people and you got Tom Homan saying, family, I don't give a damn. I'm taking the kids. I'm taking the mama. I'm taking the goddamn goldfish. All y'all going home. The border's not so much of an issue, because sending these folks home and ICE doing their goddamn job, that's the main thing. They go hand in hand. You can build the wall and you can talk about how high the goddamn wall is, but I'm telling you, family, I've seen videos of these folks literally digging holes under the wall. I've seen them climbing up the wall. I've seen people just opening the goddamn door and saying, come on in, being escorted. So does any of that mean anything if it's not being enforced? So it's about enforcement. And that's what's going on with the Iceman right here. The Iceman, oh, by the way, if you're listening, illegals, the Iceman is coming, all right? He's coming, all right? His Christmas is coming. He's making a list, and he's checking it twice, and your ass is getting deported by ICE. So enjoy that for a moment. Remember, you was talking reckless about FBA. Now we laughing at you, so deal with it. But it doesn't matter if you build the wall or not, because these folks are building an enforcement agency, policy. And they're coming after these folks one by one by one. And if you do everything that they're doing, and then you add on the pressure that we're putting in with what my brother Marcel just said, it's another day. And there's a lot of things going on in America. But the main thing is that foundational Black Americans, our sentiments are coming to light. My brother EJ, I'm going to toss it to you. But brother, I want to know what happened if you was the borders are. And I'm going to go ahead and mute, because I'm sure I'm going to be laughing, family. So go ahead, EJ, the new borders are. You tell us what's on your mind, player.
All right, thank you, Pimp, for making me alley-oop it and slam dunk it into the whole like Shaq at the free throw line. But if I was the border czar, it'd be a mass immigration, and it'd be folks running for the hills, and it'd just be flip-flops and Jollof pace all over the place. And you'll see a couple of kids running like it's a Freddy Krueger nightmare if they were messing with me. I know Halloween is over with, but we should be in these dudes' dreams all day, every day on some Freddy. We should be their worst nightmare, and it shouldn't have to take an administration all these years and all these resources and billions, if not trillions of dollars later to do their damn job. You mean to tell me that a lady that eats off-brand collard greens out the bath to actually come out here in these interviews to just be cackling and just be babbling all over the place just to try to give us something that she wasn't going to give us besides, closing the borders and actually giving us tangibles? You mean to tell me, man, who's been locked up so many times and had so many charges on him, to become the 47th president of the United States of America, to actually come out here and actually do y'all job when y'all had all the power, you had all the resources, you had every ample opportunity to do your damn job, but you completely failed. No country in the entire world would deal with these terms and conditions. In the United States of America is definitely, for the past couple of I would say the past couple of decades have been looking like the clowns of the world. Yeah, you have these illegal aliens coming into the country taking everything, but how did this look to your enemies when you're bringing the people that can actually enforce and actually get into our system and actually take it over from the inside out? See, this is what this mass immigration situation is about. We got to get these people from the roots and get them out of here and actually get us and actually have us recover. Because no country within the world can sustain this situation when it comes to these illegal aliens. And this just goes to show you that when you have real people doing real things, not only within the Black American grassroots, but actually somebody who has actually smarter than a fifth grader, you can actually get something done. We might not agree on everything, but when it comes to this mass immigration, I'm tired of looking at them. America would be a better place if these illegal aliens was actually in their country, actually handling their business. So I don't feel sorry for their kids, their grandparents. I don't even feel sorry for the damn cat they adopted. Send his ass back too. Whatever you identify as in these countries and you want to wave your flags in America, you should be having enough power and enough courage to wave your flags in the country that you come from and to actually help your people, get rid of the funk and the stench and the just failure of just trying to come to somebody else's country and handle your business when you should have been down there fighting those cartels in Mexico, actually fighting people from Dutchy whining and skin bleaching in the Dominican Republic and in Jamaica and Nigeria. So I suggest that everybody handle their business in their homeland and actually be somewhat of an assistance to their people instead of just crying about getting rid of these immigration policies and just trying to open a floodgate into our country. But y'all dealing with the same things within y'all homeland.
I forgot to mention one thing. I cannot believe I forgot to mention this. Of course, I will end birthright citizenship. Even though the borders doesn't necessarily have that issue, I will still push for it vigorously because that has to be done. That's one of the things that's bringing a lot of these illegals here. They know they can just squat down, have an anchor baby, then use that anchor baby to sponsor their citizenship. And I would end chain migration as well. That's when someone legally immigrates here, but then they sponsor the immigration of others. And right now they can sponsor parents, siblings, children, spouses, cousins, literally. To me, if you legally immigrate here, at the most, you should only be allowed to sponsor maybe your spouse and your child. No more. That's it. And even that's being too generous.
Real quick, family. Marcel, we ain't brought this up, and I'm remiss that I haven't brought this up. What do you feel about unnaturalizing people? Because that's been another issue that's been on the main stage.
I love it. They're going further than I would imagine. They are talking about denaturalization, and they're being fair. They say it's only for people who became naturalized citizens under false pretenses. Those who lied, meaning they committed fraud, they're saying they will be denaturalized. That's fair to me because had you been honest, you would not have been naturalized. So if you have found to have lied to become a naturalized citizen, you are now going to lose it. And to me, that's perfectly fair.
And can I say something else before you let the other speakers speak? You see what all these qualifications and situations people gotta do when you're a Black American or even American citizen within the country. When you go to these other countries, you got to go through a process of even going to their country and actually trying to just vacation there or even trying to become a citizen within that country. They have different standards and they do have different laws that you do have to follow, and they'll be real quick to send your ass back or even put you in a jail because they have different laws. They have different laws and different standards within these countries. But you mean to tell me that if you're coming to this country illegally and the United States government is not enforcing these laws like they enforce upon the Black American people every day, then it just goes to show you that you're just ass backwards within doing stuff for illegal aliens. But when it comes to foundational Black Americans of freedmen lineage, you just want to put us down and just don't want to give us our just due. So the days of you just trying to not listen to what we're saying, you see how they just backfired on you? See, you could have been doing real good things for the past couple of decades for the foundational Black American family, because we are always going to be the only people who take care of the country and who actually going to. And the bad thing about it is, I feel sorry for these kids, man, in these countries. yeah, we make our jokes about, the tether class, but, the kids that don't know no better, they're actually trying to get by just by living. They got to worry about civil wars and worry about things that's going on within their countries. But their parents will be so quick to sell them for a bag of chips, let alone $1,000 or even less, because we done see more of these situations with these people selling their kids for a half-eaten chicken sandwich or a melted McFlurry from McDonald's. This just goes to show you that the standards from some of these third world countries have just fallen below. This just goes to show you that some of these standards, y'all gonna have to go back to these countries and handle y'all business and get some respect and morals and actually teach the people who actually want to see their countries do better. See, that's why y'all need to go back home and handle y'all business. I don't need y'all waving y'all flags in America, salsa dancing at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, or just painting on yourself and hunting each other at the Caribbean Day Parade. I need you to handle your business at home and be a benefit to your people, not only within the United States of America by not chattering and not smelling like expired root rope deodorant, but actually just getting something about yourself and actually having the respect and the honor and keeping your traditions alive and actually bringing respect to your ancestors who got down, unlike some of you within the United States of America, let alone in your countries. Because you can only blame the government so far, and you can only put some of the blame on these other people. It's going to take the people within these countries to actually get up and stand up and actually do something for yourself. But I'm just going to land my plane and let somebody else talk.
Before I go, or before the next speaker goes, I just want to say that I was talking about how Tom Homan, he responds to people's tweets. I just put a thread up in the Jumbotron of him responding to people's tweets. He made a post, and people have been responding to it, and he actually does respond to them. So Nas is right. We do need to tag him or go underneath his post and respond to his tweets, because he does respond, not just to the first 2 or 3 as you typically see, but he'll sometimes respond to like the next 12. So I want to just put that out there. So we oftentimes don't feel like our voices are heard, especially by people who are in government. And I'm not saying that we respond to something he states and he replies to us, that's going to change something legislatively. I'm not saying that, but you just never know. And if we're not heard, it's definitely not going to happen. So I just put that in the Jumbotron just to substantiate what Nas was saying.
Can I say something really, really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
All right. So with everything that EJ and Marcel was saying, what they would do as border czars, I think that everything that you guys said is amazing. I hope Tom is over there taking some notes, but I would add one more thing to that. If an American gets into trouble and he goes to a family's house and they hide him, that's called harboring a fugitive. So if any citizen or anybody who come to this country and they gain citizenship is harboring an illegal invader, everyone in their family that gained that citizenship should be snatched. That citizenship should be gone for everybody, mother, child, grandmother, uncle, anybody in the family that's connected to this person being harbored. They need to be snatched. I'll land with that.
Brother, that's a damn good point. That's putting incentives on people the same way that we're being, incentivized to go ahead and report people with this bounty hunter program. You're starting to see that with the public. That's a damn good position right there. And that's what it's always been. A sanctuary city is basically harboring a fugitive. Now, I did see Tom Homan come out and say that that's something that is unlawful. And he was really, though, talking more so about just the city doing it in general. Our brother Church is saying we're going to go all the way to the goddamn household. So let us find out that you out here hiding Julio behind the goddamn scenes. You and Julio can pack your stuff. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's what I like. You feel me? And Iceman, if you're listening, I just want you to know that send everybody goddamn home, signed, sealed, and delivered from the non-deportable Foundational Black American, because let's be real, y'all, that's what it's really about. Okay, we're the non-deportables, and we'll get your ass deported tomorrow. And that's what the problem is between us and them. They're mad at the fact that Foundational Black Americans were here before in America, we're here during America, and we will be here if there is an after America. But there will always be us 10 toes down, loyal to the soil right here in this country, and they don't have that type of power. It's got to be a very bad thing to know that you can just go home with a phone call. And then The Black Americans are the ones who can make those damn phone calls. So we just got all the power, family, and they're the ones taking all the damn losses, and they just have to respect it because we know they can't check it. But we're going to continue to go through the hands. Oh, by the way, before I go there, I hope y'all heard I got Marcel and EJ, family. So we got us the damn new borders R's up in here. We got the FBA borders R's. We got the Homeland Security people. We got it all laid out. My brother Church, he up in here. We got it all laid out. You want the Homeland Security. You want the borders R's. I just want to be the chief instigator. That's it. Fighting all damn day long. If I can have that job, then everything is good because we got everything else lined up. But let's go through the hands, and I want to bring some foundational Black American energy in here. This is my sister right here, young lady, Miss Brooke. I know this lady very well. So the floor is yours, my family.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, family.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. How are you? And how is your lovely wife?
She good. She said hello, by the way.
I said, hey, girl. Okay. All right. So it was a couple of things that you guys said, and I have to get back to work, but I just wanted to bring up a couple of points. When somebody was talking about China bringing people to work here on the illegal farms, the illegal weed farms, China owns a lot of weed farms in central and in rural America. They also own a lot of Bitcoin farming mines or mine farming, however you put that. They also own a lot of food production companies and farms, and they are also helping the cartel to launder their money. So that's one thing I wanted to add. So when and on top of them, working with the premises to end affirmative action for nefarious reasons, which they thought that was going to help them. In the end, they thought attacking us was going to help them. I also wanted to add that when what was that sister's name? Oh man, I think it started with a B. But she was hitting on some facts about how the tax base, how they bring the illegals and how it's exhausting the tax base. New York, I want to talk about New York real quick. New York City, we lost our tax base. All the rich people moved out of New York, so which left a big hole in our tax base here. And then on top of that, then they flooded us with these illegals. So now what they're trying to do is they're using other little ways to tax us. Kathy Holcomb had ended congestion pricing, which is basically another toll for us to just enter the Manhattan now, which we call the city. So they're trying to put a toll, so every single car, no matter the time of day, you have to pay a toll just to go into Manhattan. So she had decided that she was going to end this. And this was before the election and right after. She said that kids in the Bronx don't know how to use computers. So that was looking real bad on her. So she decided to end it. But now after the election is over, she decides to bring it back. So they're taxing us with just driving into the city. They're taxing us with tickets, tolls, boots, and everything else. So they're taking it out of our here in New York. It is becoming unlivable. The amount of financial stress that we're under here. I also wanted to talk about that when you guys were talking about the whole black and brown thing, I wanted to remind everybody that it was Eric Gonzalez who helped Daniel Penny hold down our brother Jordan Neely on the train when he didn't even know what was going on, and he just automatically jumped in. There was no camaraderie with that black man. He didn't ask what was happening. He joined in with the oppressor and decided to hold this black man down until he was dead. I also wanted to bring up the fact that under our black mayor, you were talking about earlier about our black mayor and how, the things that have been happening here. Stop and frisk has been reinstated for black people, and the illegals are able to beat the NYPD in the streets, and they do nothing about it. I also want to remind everybody about the Chinese police that are sent over here by the People's Republic of China that are keeping tabs on American Chinese citizens and telling them what to do, and the amount of Chinese spies that we have found everywhere. When you guys were talking about us following the laws in other people's countries, they have a simple law in Barbados where you can't even wear camouflage, and camouflage is my thing. I don't know if people know that, but I love camouflage. And when I went over there to that country, I couldn't wear my camouflage bikini, I couldn't wear my camouflage pants, my shorts, my shoes, anything. I had to follow the laws and repack my whole bag just to follow their laws of no camouflage for regular people. when you guys were talking about how I had said that about the fake degrees. I actually was talking to a Haitian here in New York, and they were telling me how that their grandmother had the answers to the test. And I was like, damn, your grandmama is helping you cheat? Like, my grandmother would never do such a thing. She would be like, oh, you need to learn and study and get it the right way. But even down to their grandmothers are helping them cheat on these tests for the medical degrees. And I'll land my plane there. Thank you so much for letting me speak. And hello to everyone there, everyone here in the room. I love you guys. Bye.
Hey, Brooke, let me ask you a question real quick. I really despise Eric. I really despise Eric Adams. I know
So
he's
do
trying to
I.
do a complete 180 right now, but that's just I can't stand that. He's just trying to get a pardon from Trump because before
Yes.
then he was going as hard for these illegals as that Brandon
Yes.
Johnson guy was in Chicago. But I
Yes.
noticed the freedmen in Chicago, the Foundation of Black Americans in Chicago, they are going in on Brandon Johnson. Like, they don't let up on him at all. Does Eric Adams not have like city council meetings where he make appearances and the people of New York City can speak? I don't know how it works in large cities, because I know in small towns like where I live, we just can go in and sign up to speak. Of course, they can play funny. Sometimes no one ever attends these meetings. So a lot of times you may be the only person signing up to speak outside of the 3 or 4 people who go to all of them, but no one ever hardly attends. But in a place as large as New York City, I imagine they play games all the time. But is it not possible for our Freeman family in New York City to go there and let Eric Adams know how we here on the grassroots really feel about him?
I'll be honest, our numbers are in the toilet here in New York City. Most of my family have moved out. I don't have much family left here in New York City, so we don't really have the numbers. What I will say is that New York City, if you look at I think New York Times had an article recently about how everybody voted here and how the Democrats lost thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of votes, and the Republican Party picked up a lot of the votes. So I will say that the temperament of the city is changing towards our views. As far as whether he has open, he does have some, and there's always problems. They just don't publicize it or expose those type of things. And Eric Adams, he likes to kind of be like the head NIC. So he kind of try to shut down people before they even start talking and everything like that. So it's a little different here. And then not only that, but our political representation, it's all Black faces, but none of them are Black Americans. So it's very few. I'm going to put it that way. Very few. I think 1 or 2. Very few of them are Black Americans. And truth be told, I believe that they're all in on it, which is why I feel like here in New York, we kind of need to flip this whole city red because all of the Democrats are in on it.
So it's a machine, pretty much. And I see you, John Horst. I'm getting to you right now, but pretty much, bro, it's like a machine. And that is a perfect storm because you also have the Freeman Foundation of Black American Family who are really coming back south.
Yes, that is true. And also, I just wanted to remind everybody, we have oh my gosh, let me look at the exact date. We have a meeting for our reparations. That's something that we're really focused on, the Foundation of Black Americans here in New York City. And they changed the date on me, but it's in Queens. So if there's any New York family here, you could just go to my profile and you'll see it. I have it pinned to the top. We definitely need as many Foundation of Black Americans as possible to show up for that meeting.
All right, thank you. Please put that.
Thank you.
Because I saw when you were posting it before, but I didn't see like a link for Zoom or Google Meet or whatever. I did see the date, but I didn't see the time. So if you post that, because I would like to speak if I'm able to. So thank you, Brooke. Please do that.
Yes. Well, we don't have the they don't do Zoom links unless one of the members of the committee has to do Zoom. So then that's the only way they're going to do a Zoom. But other than that, they're not going to let other people speak unless like somebody from the committee. So we'll see. But I will definitely keep everybody, if they want to do this Freedman Project, follow them as well. They're also tagged on that post.
Yes.
And yes, to try to find out the updates.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, John Horse.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real short. One thing too that I want everybody in here to, for us to really start doing too, is we also need to put pressure on those who own and control these companies that lobby for these illegal immigrants to come here. See, it's one thing for us to deport the illegals, you know what I'm saying? But it's another thing for us to really, really make it stop. And the only way how I feel like we're gonna actually make it stop is we actually are gonna have to arrest a lot of these business owners who employ a lot of these illegals. We're gonna have to arrest, and a lot of them are very, very wealthy. So, I'm not really sure how that's gonna work, but I think we need to really put pressure on Donald Trump and his folks to really, really, if you really want to see, mass change and things like that, you're gonna have to, make it where the people who hire illegal immigrants, who lobby for illegal immigrants, anything like that, these business owners, these billionaire oligarchs who want all this cheap labor here, they need to be arrested because it's treasonous what they do to, what they're trying to do to the American citizens and things like that. So we definitely need to, put, a lot of our energy behind making sure a lot of these, business owners who hire illegal immigrants get put under RICO charges for a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Now they're in there.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. We talked about that quite a bit earlier. I said that has been the missing link. But I was told that Stephen Miller, who a lot of people say is a wannabe supremacist, I don't know. I kind of don't care. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But if we align here on this issue of stopping this illegal immigration invasion, then this is where we align. But Alpha mentioned that Stephen Miller has mentioned the need to go after corporations that hire illegals. And let me tell y'all, the Obama administration and the Trump administration both have tried to prosecute corporations that hire illegal immigrants. And Trump was found to have had illegal immigrants working for him. Come to find out, they did not work directly for him, and he used the same excuse that a lot of corporations use. I mentioned this before. I'm going to repeat it. That they don't hire these illegals directly. They outsource their hiring to agencies who then do the staffing for them. Then those damn agencies need to be held accountable. But a lot of people like to play past the buck when it comes to hiring of illegal immigrants. They play the whole, well, I didn't hire them. Well, I didn't hire them either. Well, I didn't hire them. I didn't hire them either. So you're right. They definitely need to be held accountable. That's a major, major, major issue. And that's one of the things that keeps facilitating this illegal immigration invasion. I see you too, Black. I'm going to get to you. But we need to go beyond the corporations. We need to also go after these politicians who are facilitating this illegal immigration invasion. That's why I was so happy to hear Tom Homan said that he's willing to put people in jail who are in positions of power, like mayors, who are obstructing justice when ICE goes to arrest these illegal immigrants. They started doing that nonsense where Obama was in office, saying they would not cooperate. You had people who are mayors on town councils. You have people who are in charge of churches giving housing, aiding and abetting these illegal immigrants and breaking our laws. They are saying they will put them in jail. That's exactly what needs to happen. That's exactly what needs to happen. Sir Funk, I'm not sure if you've been up here or if you came back up here to speak, because I stepped away for a second. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sir Funk, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, Too Black?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This is Too Black, Too Strong. Thanks for letting me come up. You're talking about how to handle the business owners. There was a town in Connecticut back in 2012, 2014 that was being overrun by immigrants. And what they did was that they took away, they threatened to take away the business permits from the businesses. So if you were caught hiring someone, letting someone stay in a rental property, selling them property, and they were illegal, you could get your business permit taken away. So that's what did it, and it was an automatic stampede out of that city. So they did it with a stroke of a pen. You don't need an ICE truck. All you got to do is to say, look, we'll take your business permit, and you can't do business anymore in our land.
There's also a town that did that in Nebraska. I don't know if anyone who has been following me for a while, I'm not sure if you remember, I went to my town council here. This is an all Republican town council. And I went to them and I said, why the hell is my little town looking like a sanctuary city? And they told me to bring them a law that has already been enacted in another municipality that they could enact here. And I brought them a law from a town in Nebraska. I think that's the same law that that town or municipality, maybe it's a town or city, in Connecticut has followed. And they did that same type of system where before anyone can rent or own a home, they had to prove they were a citizen. All businesses had to verify that all of their employees were American citizens. If they did not comply, they will lose their business permit. So that sounds like the same type of package that's been implemented by this municipality in Nebraska. And they tried to put this small town through hell. But shout out to this town, Nebraska. They stood their ground. They went and fought it all the way to the Supreme Court and won. So when these so-called Republicans, I guess they what you would call rhinos, Republicans in name only, they tried to say to me, at least the town lawyer tried to say to me, well, we will have to spend thousands, not millions of dollars fighting this in court. I said, no, you would not, because that fight, that battle or that fight has already been fought and won. A lot of them, and I said this to their face, I said, a lot of you are probably renting homes to these illegal immigrants. A lot of you are probably hiring these illegal immigrants. And then you like to say these platitudes, well, Americans don't want to work. No, they don't want to work for slave wages that these illegal immigrants are readily able or willing to accept. No, Americans don't want to work for that. They don't want to be talked to like they're garbage because they will leave. These illegal immigrants will not leave. They will sit there and take it. So you're right. We don't want to work to put up with crap like that. Slave wages and to be verbally or physically abused. I said, we are not going to pay exorbitant rent. But we have to pay exorbitant rent now because those are the only homes that are left. I need to get back to holding my town council accountable. But with me running for office and all the other stuff that had been taking place, I didn't have time to do that. But thanks for that too, Black. You are absolutely true. Alfred, you back?
Yeah, I'm right here, family. There's another thing that I wanted to add because this is so multifaceted and this just shows everybody exactly what the Democrats and the Republicans have been doing to the American citizen for years to come. You know what I'm saying? I said years before, and we're going to stop it going years after. One of the things we also have to mention is human trafficking. That's something else that is, you know, an issue that they've been really utilizing with this whole migrant crisis. If I'm not mistaken, I'm hearing that it was what 350,000 kids missing. Remember, Donald Trump is the only one bringing this up, and no one really wants to talk about that. And we know how the dominant society functions. So human trafficking, that's another element, but that's another reason why a lot of these people want to keep the borders open. I don't know how many people seen the video just recently of the young child that was at the border unaccounted for by itself. And I've seen multiple videos. This is just one that came out recently. And you see this all the time. So they're allowing people to come. People are coming up missing, children and all sorts. And let me also add this. When you start seeing these emotional videos that they put out and they're talking about how, you know, these mothers are these great mothers that don't deport the family and don't separate the family. How great of mothers are these people when you walked across a damn desert with scorpions and snakes and you had to go through polluted water and you ain't ate and you ain't drank nothing? That's a great mother. That's a very good parent, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, because they'll sit there and they'll try to take a foundational Black American child away if the kid gets suspended from school. But yet you got Mrs. Sanchez who walked across the desert, did not give her kid any food, had to jump over rattlesnakes, had to climb over a damn border. Let's be real, you probably passed off your kid 17 different goddamn times. And this person is the mother of the year that we need to take account for, and we shouldn't allow them to be separated. You risk separating your child when you tried to come here illegally, all right? And you really did that, and you risked your own life trying to get here. I don't know about anybody, but let me tell you, a foundational Black American, we're not putting our kids through none of that. We're going to say, you know what? We're going to stay right where the hell we are before I take my baby through a goddamn desert. All that, and I might get sent home. A lot of people die on the way to these places. So no, these aren't great parents. They ain't great family structures because they all leech off of what we do. So that's one element that we have to bring up in terms of this crisis and where these political pundits they benefit from, and then they put people at bay. So we have to continue to expose these factors, and we have to continue to expose every element of this. And this is how we change it. And we have to, going forward, as certified, we got to start exposing these people in every element. And then we also have to start not just calling ICE, but we have to start building relationships with other people who are anti-mass immigration, not just the illegals, but mass immigration. We got to start developing that, and we got a few years to do it. That's what you call being politically savvy. I got a question, though, for my brother, Church of Black Power, because I know you're down there in Texas, family. I know you know about Eagle Pass because I heard you mention it before. Anybody right now who's not aware of Eagle Pass, y'all go ahead and just type that in, and the things that you will see will be abundantly clear what the hell's going on. Family, what's the atmosphere like in that area in terms of people just coming and going and leaving and coming back? Because I know when I was down in Texas, I would see people, I was always say, jump the border. They would swim through a goddamn lake, dust off, and go to the club. And then they would go back home, and then they jump back over the border again. What are you seeing, brother, as somebody who's literally on the ground down there in Texas in terms of the flow of these people? Go ahead, my brother.
It's definitely not like it was before the election. Before the election, you had just a groups of people just basically being let in because they couldn't, do too much. And even after the Governor Greg Abbott or whatever, he did what he did to kind of curve some of that, especially getting that bill passed to lock up anybody who committed a crime out here. You kind of see it slowed down, but it really started slowing down after the election cycle. So even now, like when I'm looking at reports on the border down at the Eagle Pass, you're not seeing as many people coming through in caravans. You have the people who's trying to get here that's going to get here and claim that they're seeking asylum or whatnot. However, it is not the numbers that we were seeing. We're not even seeing about 5,000 anymore, to be honest.
Wow, that's insane. And I know Abbott down there wasn't playing because, he started designating these people as terrorists. A lot of those gangs, he was going ahead and designating them as terrorists. You seen that, right?
Absolutely. And not just that, as you notice, he's been smiling right next to Tom Homan. So, I'm thinking that he's getting a little bit, he's basically doing a little advising to Homan on some of the things that effectively work at the border that he's been utilizing. But for the most part, it's been quiet over here.
A lot of them migrants know it is. They know it's about to come down. Things about to get really, really real, all right? If they ain't already, y'all. I'm telling you, 2025, we're going to start seeing the videos change. You're going to still see the videos with the migrants, but it ain't going to be the migrants just coming in and going into them 5-star hotels and getting money for free. You're not going to see that. You're going to see them in videos, but it's going to be them getting drug out of places, getting snatched up, thrown in handcuffs. I've actually already seen it in New York. I've seen a couple places where they say them shelters aren't even there right now. You're not seeing them. And another thing I want to bring up to everybody, I also want the family to understand the lingo, all right, and the terminology. They've been also on the low. A lot of people don't know about this. They've been trying to classify migrants as foreign nationals, okay? That's another way that they can bring these people in and put some sugar on top, and they can spin it in a possible way. So you also have to watch how the paperwork is. Y'all know we snatch paperwork. So when you start looking at the paperwork and you start seeing they are erasing migrant and illegal alien, and they're starting to say foreign nationals, then that lets you know they're trying to implement these people. There's a lot of sneaky things that have been going on for a long time. On the Black Off Network, we've been breaking the case about Miles for Migrants, all right, and the IOM, and how this goes all the way up to the United Nations, and how there was a secret election that went on 2 years ago, and Joe Biden literally installed one of his puppets to work for him at the United Nations, and they've been the ones creating this flow of people coming in and out of America. And actually, when Donald Trump was the president, he actually was the only person in a civilized country that removed America from international immigration. So that is what they've been doing behind the scenes. And then in front of the scenes, we've been seeing these people pop up. You don't have somebody here from Africa, okay, just because you ain't walking on the goddamn water, all right? They ain't walking on the water. You got here because someone flew you in. And another thing that we have been dispelling is this old image of the struggling migrant. That's why I don't really want to talk too much about Miss Sanchez and Julio and Diaz here. They want to have you focus on those people coming in from South America, Mesoamerica, and they're just the old, outdated immigrant family. Y'all seen the videos like I seen. These people coming in here with new Nikes on, and these people been coming here with cell phones. Where they get that from? The nowadays migrant is someone who is very, very well taken care of. They dress to impress because these people are being flown in. When you see them people coming in from China, these ain't a bunch of poor folks. Or from Africa, these ain't a bunch of poor folks. They have been strategically getting these individuals. Every time you see a caravan of 60,000 people coming, y'all notice they'll show you that caravan on its way, but then they quit reporting on it when it gets here because they want you to focus on that Mexican border, but they're not telling everybody that a lot of people are flying right over that goddamn thing, and they landed all throughout the United States of America, and they're dishing them out. I actually have the footage of these people getting their documentations and where they're being sent to. And it's all throughout the United States and a lot of the cities that y'all are in right now. These people are getting destinations. They're getting cards. This is a very, very well-oiled machine. So when we were saying that we wanted Donald Trump to come on in and start instituting mass deportations, it ain't just about the poor, broke-down person fleeing persecution from his home country. Hell no. It's the African guy who's coming over here in a plane, and he's getting over here trying to cloak himself in our identity. The melanated guy who don't even identify as black. These are the people who've been coming over here. People from India. When Kamala Harris was running, and not just when she was running, but while she was actually vice president, a lot of people don't know that the numbers for people coming in from India, or so I say the request, went up literally 800% from India. Kamala was trying to take care of her people. That's what she was doing, y'all. She was coming in here trying to take care of her people. That's why you see people from India at the Mexican border. You see people from Africa at the Mexican border. You see people from China at the Mexican border. None of those places border the United States of America. They border oceans, all right? Someone paid for that plane ticket and flew them here, and then they purposely placed them in our communities. And I have the actual statistics, literally. And it tells you out of all the sanctuary cities in the United States of America, these people are getting put in places that have 70% of the Black American population. It don't happen like that by accident. Anybody think that's a coincidence? That ain't no coincidence nor accident, family. 70% of our population is where these people go to. You see them getting dropped off everywhere in the United States of America, and it's always our neighborhoods. So while the Democrats are running around here telling you that this wasn't a black issue, and then Kamala Harris was sitting there cackling through every interview, now we've exposed it to the point. So since we did all that work and we exposed all that to the point, it's time now for us to, and just remember all of those tether smiling people that were thinking that they were getting one up on us, and now they asses all getting one up and sent back home. That's the way we got to continue to approach this. This is the way we're going to have to continue to push through. But family, it's been a good space, y'all. I don't want to keep everybody. It's a Sunday. We sending everybody home. I want y'all to call ICE on speed dial and shout out to all my certified foundational Black Americans. All we do, y'all, is we continue to stay focused and we stay on our game and we continue to make history, y'all. We ain't with none of that nonsense. We just stay focused. So they sending all these people home, they packing them up, and that's a good thing. We're going to continue to build. We're going to continue to work with each other because remember, we're the ones who brought this to the forefront. All my brothers and sisters in New York, Chicago, all my people in the West Coast, Midwest, the South, it was foundational Black Americans who had a plan, an agenda, and we executed. Mission statement, mission accomplished. Signed, sealed, and delivered. That's what we always do, and we're going to continue to do that for the next few years. We're going to continue to bring these real, functionable, good spaces, and we're going to hold it down. And I want everybody to know, y'all stay focused and stay doing your thing, because all we do, y'all, is that we put out that real good energy, and we ain't got no time for none of that low vibrational energy. We got things to do, and it feel good being a mega star. So anybody out there hating, man, you just tell them, go ahead and brush your teeth before you talk to us, especially me. Certified salute to y'all. Y'all enjoy y'all goddamn night. Y'all know what time it is. Black Alpha Network. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Catch you on the next one.